Flag on the play if you're not subscribed to VonAllen Sports. But once you are, we'll make it up to your team in the fourth quarter. You're watching VonAllen Sports, real and honest NFL analysis. Subscribe now and join the empire. VonAllen Sports, let's go.
VonAllen Sports. VonAllen Sports.
Well. Already the divisional weekend. This entire week has gone by faster than anything I could have imagined. it's crazy. Okay. I've been working all week nonstop. It's crazy. I feel like all I've been doing is working and sleeping, working, sleeping, working, sleeping, working, sleeping. I've got so much coming up, man. I'm almost done with a lot of different things. I wrote scripts for new Brady Hate Sog episodes, which are fucking awesome. Oops. Sorry, YouTube. I was just excited, so I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Okay. Damn, it's cold over here. All right. I sit by the window and hands are freezing. All right. Yeah, don't turn the heat on because the rest of me will get hot. So it'll just make it worse. I'll be like miserable both sides. Anyway, I'll just wear these. It's fine. I can type with these gloves on. Okay. So I wrote the script for Brady Hate Sog episodes, which are phenomenal. I think. I mean, I'm not. Don't mean that in a bragging way. I just mean that the stats and the arguments that people have proposed lately are so insane that it's just given me amazing subject to work with. Then some great Basement Butthurt episodes. Basement Butthurt has made a comeback. That's right. The reason it wasn't as active in the last year is because I kind of ran out of people to pick on, and it's like how many people can you make look stupid over a certain amount of time before it gets kind of you're picking on the same people over and over again. But don't worry, we have new people now, so we have a whole new way of getting at these people now, a whole different group, different type. It's amazing. So we'll go over all that tonight, and some things that have happened around the NFL that I'd like to talk about. But let me change this real quick because this is the old one. Yeah, this is the updated version. I think I prefer it on top though. Okay. So are we back? Hey guys, can you comment and tell me if we're back? Something happened. The stream got messed up. Say, you're here or something like that? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. The internet's working. Everything's fine. So, all right. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Okay. Anyway. So, yeah, the ranking here, the super chat ranking is very, very close. Jalen, what's up, man? The Gord King is here. Let's go. Tiffany, D. Bateman, what's up? Yep, Metroid, that's right. Nightly Sinister, hey, Kevin. Israel, boy, you got a big game. Wow. Dallas versus San Francisco. I'm so looking forward to that, man. Ryan Dyer, what's up, Ryan? Yep, you guys know the music, huh? James Johnson. Eddie. Why is that so loud? Damn. Everything going nuts tonight. All right. Usually when stuff like this happens, we end up having a great show. So it's fine. All right. Jesse back. Welcome. John Thomas Chavez. Okay. Awesome. So let me get this these super chats real quick. Okay. James Johnson sends a $2 super chat. He says, it's snowing where I am and you're cold. Well, cold is a weird word in this case. It's not. All right. So I have always, my whole life, I've always been the person that my hands are cold, my feet get cold easily. I'm talking easily, like even in an air-conditioned room. I don't know what the temperature is right now outside. Maybe it's like 50 degrees or something. But anyway, my workspace where I'm at right now is right by the biggest window we have, biggest set of windows. And honestly, they're not that good. They're clearly not made for insulation or anything like that. So I'm getting like a constant cold breeze right here on my hands, like perfectly up, right on my hands. The rest of me's fine, but my hands feel like ice, and I start to get pain in my fingers and my hands. So that's all it is. So when I say cold, it's kind of a weird thing to say. People think, oh, LA and not cold, but when you've lived as long as I have out west, I've lived out west for 22 years, your blood starts to change, and cold is different for different people. Like if you're in New England, things like that. I just don't like being cold. I hate it. So, yeah. I don't like being really hot either. I just like the perfect weather. So I hope that answers your question. It's a very small amount of time when it's cold here. So, or what we consider cold. Addy Vasorna, what's up, Addy? Sends a $2 super chat, and he says, I want the underdogs to win. Of course you do, Addy. Of course. Because your team is a lifelong underdog, and that's what they've always been. Well, not maybe in the pre-Super Bowl days, they were champions. They were one of the best teams in the NFL. But as long as we've been alive, they have been always the underdog, I think, generally speaking. So I get it. And like the old saying goes, America loves an underdog. Glad to see you here, Addy. And congratulations, by the way. Addy, he quit smoking, and he's engaged. I don't know if he's going to bring on his fiance sometime on the phone chat, if he's going to do that or not, and we all get to see who she is, because don't we have to approve him? I mean, I don't know, Milena, I don't know what happened exactly, but Addy didn't ask my permission to get engaged. You know? And yeah, how come we didn't receive our goats? We did not receive our chickens and horses. I'm supposed to get a dowry out of this, all right? So I just want to know why you didn't run it by us and all that, because here at VAS, you have to run that because she's family now, right? So if you marry her, she's family, she's part of it. So we have to know. So it's got to be approved. I'd like to know what team she supports, by the way. No, congrats, Eddie, man. That's awesome. I'm really happy for you. Israel sends a $2 super chat, and he says the next 2 weekends of NFL are going to be amazing. Absolutely. Dude, like I said, I told you guys the other day, it's going to be fine. Okay? And we're going to talk about that tonight with the Tom Brady situation, also what happened in Tampa and everything that was going on. I have some, of course, my own theories, and everyone else has theirs, but I think next year is going to be a lot more fun as far as related to Tom. But this playoffs is going to be awesome, and we've got so many great quarterbacks playing right now, and the league is in good hands, okay? Because I know Aaron and Tom, their time is almost up, and they are the last of the old guard. They are the last of the guys that we all hear have been watching, for 2 decades. It's crazy. I think this is the first playoffs, the first divisional round. Okay, you ready for this? This is insane. Milena, check this out. This is the first time that the divisional round, meaning the second round of the playoffs, has not either had Tom, Aaron, Peyton, or Ben Roethlisberger since 2002. 4 guys have been in the divisional round over the last 20 years. That is crazy. So you can see that that's changing. And we always worried here. I remember back in 2019, I used to say this on the show. I'd say, I'm worried that there's not a good quarterback grouping. There didn't seem to be. Like, we saw some guys that we were thinking maybe they could be. Some guys weren't drafted yet. It's just, but now I think I'm starting to see that I think we're in good hands here. So nothing will ever be like Tom versus Peyton and all that. That ain't going to happen. But we're not expecting that to happen, So it's just, but I do think we can get back to expecting great quarterback rivals and things like that. I think that's going to be there. So, Mastermind, what's up, man? Let's go. Hell yeah. The Gourd King says VAS, not the Winter Soldier. Confirmed. Definitely. Now, I can deal with cold. Okay, so I lived in Bulgaria for 4 years, and it was freaking cold there. All right, in the wintertime. But not only did I have a regular heater, the regular heater in the place, but I had a little electric heater next to me, like 2 heaters. It's crazy. So, but I survived. It's just my hands. If I can keep my hands warm and my feet, I can do anything. I can go out. You just got to have the right kind of gloves. So, me and Milena spent a lot of time outside in Bulgaria walking around and stuff in the wintertime. Never bothered me. In fact, sometimes she would tap out before I would. Yeah, where are our goats? Okay. Eddie says she's a keeper. Gord King says 2002 is also the last time the Raiders had a top 15 defense. That's pretty pathetic. But they've also never had a great quarterback either, which helps. So you need really good efficiency and a great offense. And you notice that in 2002, they just happened to have the MVP, Rich Gannon, and they just happened to have a defense that was top 15, right? So those things usually coincide unless there's been rare cases where a quarterback is, throwing for a lot of yards, getting a lot of stats and all that, and having an MVP type year. But maybe his defense is not benefiting because he's throwing picks in the wrong place. He's stressing them out in the yardage category, things like that, and it's making it difficult for them. So there are those cases, but usually if you've got an efficient quarterback, really good quarterback play and all that, your defense is not as stressed. And when your defense is not as stressed, you can be better. Now look at the Bucs between 2019 and 2020. So that's a big difference, It just changes things. Even this year with Tom, they weren't putting points on the board, but Tom was efficient, okay? He didn't have a lot of turnovers or anything. In fact, that he had less turnovers this year than he's ever had as a Buc, I'm pretty sure. So the defense was still able. It's not like he's turned it over 30 times or something, So, yeah, the Raiders, what they're going to need is an efficient quarterback and someone that brings that entire winning mentality to the locker room, and they need some new pieces on defense. Maybe they can even draft some guys, but yeah, they would have to do that. So I agree. I mean, I knew what you were implying, so. Oh yeah, Gronk's definitely going to be back. Yeah, it's fairly obvious. James Johnson sends a $2 super chat. Where is everybody tonight? 18 people. James Johnson sends a $2 super chat. He says, "Congrats, Addy. I am so happy for you." Absolutely. Let's go. Except I still want my goats. And a horse. It can be a baby horse. That's fine. All right. Nightly Sinister sends a $5 super chat. He says it's going to hit in the low 30s for the next 5 days. It's cold in the desert. Yeah, Kevin, Nightly Sinister here, he's in Phoenix. So it does get cold out west sometimes. It happens. I know it sounds weird, but it does. Thank you for that, Kevin. These damn sodas. So Milena ordered the Mexican Coast like normal, but this one is the what is it? Medio litro. And it's, look at this. You have to double fist it in order to drink it. See the double fist? Yeah, it's very inconvenient, I guess, unless you're a porn star. All right. Mastermind says 2002 is the last year the Colts were in the AFC East. Actually, that was 01. The changeover was in 02. So that's when the Houston Texans were introduced. And then Peyton got moved out of the AFC East, which was a really good division. And he got moved into the newly formed AFC South, which made up of his Colts, the expansion team Houston Texans, the Tennessee Titans, who were not too long before that, was the Houston Oilers, so they're basically another team that's been in, flux, with a brief Super Bowl appearance in 1999, of course, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were an expansion team just in mid-90s there, right before. So he got a pretty good deal. Houston plays in a dome. Jacksonville's Jacksonville. Tennessee playing in Nashville's not too bad. The weather's kind of 4 seasons. It's not terrible or anything. And Indianapolis, where he played in a dome. So he got a sweet deal out of that, while Tom was left in the AFC East, which is to play in New England every day, every home game, to play in Buffalo, which is worse, to play in New York, which is bad as well. And then you get the one reprieve in Miami, but they always scheduled the Miami game in September, so it's hot as hell down there. So that still sucks. But yeah, interesting how that worked out. But yet Tom somehow was able to be Peyton Manning as far as stats go, still have the accumulated stats, the records, and MVPs and all that, while in the AFC East, while outside in the cold, in the weather, in the elements and all that. And he still wasn't managed to get 3 MVPs. It should have been 4, but they gave Tom's 4th one to Aaron Rodgers. Gord King goes, James Johnson, "Congrats, Addy. Here's $2 for someone else." Hey, I'm owed that. I told you. I get a dowry for Addy getting engaged. I get a part of that. So that $2 goes to my payment. So Mastermind says, salutations to our highest emperor, Æron VonAllen. Our armada is here at your behest, my lord. My lord. Well, we have a peace treaty. We have a with the Gourd King. So he is he's maintaining the outer lands. I just want to, real quick, I just want to make this comment about the 2002 Raiders that Gourd King was just mentioning. Okay, I see people on the on Twitter, a lot of Raiders fans. I've followed and been followed by a lot of Raiders fans, and I can't remember exactly why that happened or how it happened, but it just did. This has happened over like the last 6 months, but I see them posting recently quite a bit. And then I have a lot of Saints followers from when I first started on Twitter when I did Bountygate. So I've seen them talking shit to each other back and forth. And they're saying if John Gruden, deserved $10 million for 10 years, then Sean Payton should get like 3 times that or whatever. Okay. And the Saints fans were arguing that Gruden didn't even deserve the $10 million he got because he only won a Super Bowl with Tampa, and it was with Tony Dungy's team. And so he won with a team that Tony Dungy built. All right, that's interesting. I just want to point this out, though, okay? And this bugs me. I'm no fan of John Gruden, okay? I think he's highly overrated. And I think his time on Monday Night Football and in the booth created his legend. Usually when a quarterback who's won a Super Bowl goes away for a while, it's like Alexander Hamilton once said, political weeds grow really well in the shade. And when you go away and when you're not seen, your legend starts to grow, and people just remember that you won a Super Bowl, and then they want you, and you become more desirable. It's a weird effect. Sean Payton did this exact same thing. This entire last year that he was off, he's been doing nothing but media. He's smart. He's been doing nothing but media on all kinds of shows, giving analysis and stuff, and people see him, and teams see him, and they think, oh, Sean Payton, Not that they wouldn't have wanted him anyway, but I'm just saying, let's be honest, he kind of underperformed, underaccomplished with what he had. Okay, the Saints should have at least been in 2 Super Bowls, probably should have won 2, and they just didn't really. And then you saw what happened last year when he didn't have Drew Brees anymore. So, and that happens too. I'm not talking crap about him. It's just when you're away, you get notoriety, it seems like, and John Gruden got that. But I'm tired of hearing about Tony Dungy's Bucs. I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing that John Gruden was able to just steal a Super Bowl from Tony Dungy's team. Okay, first of all, Tony Dungy couldn't get it done. That's why they got rid of him. Okay, because they could do okay. They could get certain distance, but they couldn't score. They could not score. Go back and watch Bucs playoff games with Tony Dungy. They cannot score. It's like every single game nearly was under 10 points. If you can't score, you can't win. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how great the defense is if you're not scoring over 9 points in the playoffs. Okay, you're in trouble. So they brought in a guy who knew offense. What happened? They magically started blowing out people. They get into the playoffs and it's a destruction. Okay? Completely different. That was the Gruden effect. Also, Tony Dungy gets credit for the Tampa 2. Monty Kiffin worked on the Tampa 2, and the elements, the few elements that Tony Dungy even provided, he took from the Steel Curtain in the 70s. Okay. So he took that from Chuck Noll and those guys. Let's not pretend that he is some kind of mastermind. If you need more evidence, watch him as an analyst on TV. He doesn't know shit about anything. He is clueless. He is absolutely clueless. Then he goes to the Colts, and that whole team is ran by Peyton, obviously, and he leaves. He retires. Jim Caldwell comes in and does the same thing. It's like they never missed a beat. As long as you had Peyton, you were fine. Okay, so Peyton goes to Denver, makes John Fox look like a Hall of Fame coach all of a sudden. That's magical. That's see how quickly that works, you know? So I'm sorry, but I'm sick of hearing about Tony Dungy and that Tampa 2 and the freaking the Bucs team that John Gruden took from him. How about this? If Tony Dungy gets so much credit for the making the Bucs to that point from 99 to 2001, if he gets credit for that, then how come John Gruden doesn't get credit for the Raiders team that he built that went to the Super Bowl against his Bucs in 2002? So John Gruden is playing his old team in the Super Bowl, the Raiders team that Gruden built himself. And turned Rich Gannon into a all-pro quarterback. The only reason I'm talking about this because I'm just sick of people just looking on the surface and then hearing something and then repeating it over and over and over again. It's like the NFL rigged guys. They heard somewhere at some point that the NFL is listed as sports entertainment, and they just regurgitated this over and over and over again. They never actually bothered to go and look at the actual court case. They never bothered to read it and actually pay attention. So it's just stuff like this is really annoying. And we got some other things I want to touch on as well regarding that. Aaron Rodgers, actually. So. I'm just catching up here. Boom, 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 boom. Mastermind says, "My liege, I accept all punishment you deem merited to my foolish, incorrect self." It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'll let it slide this time. No, Google doesn't take that much, Nightwalker. They don't take that much. It's a good deal. You got to remember that if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even be able to do this. So their percentage is not bad. No, it's 30%. It's not bad. I don't think that's that bad. Okay, here goes my double fisting. All right. You got to get me regular size soda, sweetie. Eddie, look at that. Eddie's trying to pay the dowry. Eddie, 24 months, by the way. 2 years he's been a member. Longtime subscriber. Eddie says, "Here's your share," and he sends $10. How many goats will that buy us, Milena? We'll get some goats. Okay, so we're going to buy some goats. Get them as babies. Okay. Let's see. Mastermind. Chris Sims. Mastermind sends a $2 super chat. He says, Brady is the GOAT forever and ever. Oh, the wonderful Chris Sims. He is, he's amazing. I got this video of Chris Sims speaking to John Gruden. John Gruden's trying to tell him the play in practice, and he can't figure it out. He can't get it. He just keeps getting it wrong every time. You can just tell he just doesn't know what he's doing. It's hilarious, actually. Let me see if I can get that for you, because it's worth it. Here we go. Okay, so the reason this is a problem is because he's supposed to know the playbook. And that is supposed to already be memorized. This wasn't just Gruden just walking up and giving him a random play that he's never heard before. Okay? That's why Gruden is getting pissed off. Okay? Gruden's getting pissed off because it's like, how do you not know this? How have you not memorized it? And that's pretty standard stuff right there. And he didn't even bother to read the playbook. That's why Gruden's getting mad. He doesn't expect him to say it to him and him remember all that crap the first time you hear it. That's very few people would be able to do that. But yeah, so he thought because he is the son of Phil Simms that he could just coast through. He was treated and he was pampered in high school. He was pampered in college at Texas. And he thought that the NFL was just going to kiss his ass and that he didn't have to work hard. He thought he was going to be treated like Peyton Manning. The difference is Peyton studied. Peyton Manning lived football. That's what he was about, you know. So Chris just thought he could just do that, and I find that hilarious. So. Dude, just in high school, there were plays that sounded like nonsense sometimes. And it's like, huh? But they were in the playbook, and if you study them, you would remember. It's no different than studying for a chemistry test. I remember all kinds of formulas in chemistry that we had to remember. It was weird things, you know. And you got to remember them. And it's part of it. It's just part of your job. He should have had that play memorized and down easily. So... You watch Tom sometimes in interviews, especially when he was a Patriot. He did that Patriot show. Sometimes he was on the Patriot show, and they would ask him about a play from the past, from 15 years ago, and he would tell you what play it was as soon as it happened. He's like, "Oh, that was blah 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 blah," like exactly like a long play like that. Just he remembers that from 15 years ago, and of course they don't even use that anymore. So that's just memorization. That's just knowing your stuff and making sure that you've got it covered. So, but that was fun. Phil Williamson. Gord King. Exactly. Gord King says, keep in mind he's had time to memorize these calls. Exactly. That's why Gruden was pissed. So he was like, come on, you don't know this? And that's what he's like, what? You're supposed to know this, dummy. So, yeah. Israel's. Are they cooking again? All right. Israel says, I guess he didn't do his homework. Kyler Murray took notes. It's true. So what games were out when Chris Sims was screwing that up? Was he playing a lot of Halo or something? So. Okay, so tell me or not, this is not a rhetorical question. I'm just going to ask you guys, put in the comments if you know about this. But have you guys heard about the media and everybody is giving Aaron Rodgers a hard time regarding when he was saying that he thinks he can win an MVP if he was somewhere else, or I'm not somewhere else, a good situation. In the right situation, he said, in the right situation, I think I could win MVP. Did you guys hear about this? You guys know about that? I'll give you time to answer, and I'm going to get the super chat real quick. John Thomas Chavez sends a $2 super chat, celebrating 24 plus months of being a member. Thank you, John. He says Jared Lorenzen was a better lefty quarterback than Chris Sims. Oh yeah, absolutely. Big old Jared, man, he was huge dude, biggest quarterback I think ever in history, right? So, yeah. So, okay. Jesse, so for you, okay, Biden. Okay, cool. All right. So this has been going around, like 2 days, for 2 days since it's Tuesday, right? And all the shows have been destroying Æron, torching him. Okay. And this never used to happen. I just want to point out that this never used to happen to Æron. And now it's World War III on him, and we all know why. But I have never been the best. I've never been the best towards Aaron Rodgers here, and but I also call out bullshit. And I just need to point this out, that every show was lying their ass off. They were taking things way out of context and just making subject matters out of it, even to the point to get Gronk to respond to it. But Gronk didn't know about the original interview. They just put a quote up and took it out of context, and then Gronk responded to that sentence. So basically what the quote was that they were using, it said, Aaron Rodgers says, and he did say this, he goes, I think I can win an MVP in the right situation. Okay, so everybody is getting on his ass because he said that, and he didn't, instead of saying, I think I can win a Super Bowl in the right situation. So they were trying to say, oh, Aaron only cares about MVPs, and that's what he's talking about. Okay, well, I watched the original interview last night. It's from Pat McAfee's show. I don't want to give too many props to Pat McAfee, obnoxious. But this was a good interview. The Aaron Rodgers interviews are pretty good. He's usually very open and honest about things, and that's refreshing coming from NFL quarterbacks. But that's not what happened, okay? So regarding the MVP talk, he was talking about people, and Pat, him and Pat were talking about people thinking in 2019 that he sucked, okay? That he couldn't do it anymore and that he was washed up. And then he kind of made a sarcastic joke. He was taking a shot at the media and saying, somehow I won the MVP during the 2 years of COVID, right? So that prompted the talk of MVP. And they were talking, basically, it was all in the context of whether or not he could play at a high level himself. And so he said, yeah, I think I could win another MVP in the right situation. So that was in the context of that conversation where they were only talking about MVP. That's what they were talking about, okay? Then, 5 minutes later, something like that, they asked him if he'd consider coming back. And he said, well, you don't come back unless you think you can win the Super Bowl. Or he said, unless you think you can win it all. So clearly, when he was talking about MVP, that was just in the context of the MVP conversation. But then he said he's not coming back unless he thinks he can win the Super Bowl. It wasn't any kind of correction or anything on his part. It was just in the flow of talking, and nobody thought he said anything wrong until the media got wind of it. So this is why it's important to find out, and if you can, if you're a media outlet. I'm not talking necessarily about fans and stuff, but Just a second. Okay. So I'm not necessarily talking about fans, but the media, they need to do their due diligence, and they don't do any work anymore. They just want hot takes. They just want um, to be able to talk about something, and it's just, I don't know. It's really obnoxious. So, but if you watch the interview, you would realize quickly. You're like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Okay, it makes more sense. But when you just take something and remove it, do you guys remember when I did a video? I chopped up a bunch of things about me talking about Patrick Mahomes, and I took it all out of context. Okay, and I just chopped it up in segments, and then called the video something like "The Art of Taking It Out of Context." And it sounded like I hated Patrick Mahomes more than anyone on earth. And I was just having fun with it, you know? And all those things I was saying were either sarcasm in the original rant, or me quoting somebody, or me talking about somebody completely different, like Andy Reid, for example, instead of Pat. But you can do that. You can take things out of context. And I was just showing how easily it can be done. And it worked. There was a lot of Chiefs fans who thought I was a hater and didn't even realize what I was doing. So it can be done very easily. So one thing, yeah, exactly, Ryan. They stretched that shit really far. It was, in fact, I don't even know why they would think of it that way if they heard the actual original interview. But they don't care. They just took it and ran with it. So. Get rid of my gum. I don't want to do it on camera. All right. Biden asked me, "Do I not like Pat?" Okay, it's a weird thing. Okay, so it's not. I don't want to say it's not like I don't like him. It's just him and his crew. Those guys are annoying. A lot of times, they're always yelling stuff and saying random things that make no sense, and it's all inside joke stuff. I don't know what they're doing. They talk about dumb stuff all the time. Really annoying. And honestly, I cannot tell what accent that Pat McAfee has, but it keeps getting more and more Southern. I'm not sure where that's coming from. He seems to, when he talks to Aaron Rodgers, for example, he acts like a child. So when he interviews Aaron Rodgers, he acts like a complete moron, and he's not. He's not a moron. He's not stupid. He's actually really smart, but he pretends to be stupid, and that I find extremely annoying. And so when Aaron's talking, he acts like he's listening to Yoda. He's like, "Oh, wow. Oh my god." He's like, like Joe Rogan, when someone's talking, he's like, "Dude, dude, totally," that kind of thing. So I just find that annoying at times. That's all. But it's not like I wouldn't say I hate him or dislike him. I watch a lot of his segments and stuff. But I could just do without him pretending to be stupid. He acts like he doesn't know and is aloof and all this stuff. And I know he's not like that. He's actually really smart. So that's probably it. And that accent, I don't know. Isn't he from Pennsylvania or something? But he keeps having more and more of a Southern accent. I don't know where that's coming from, but I find that interesting. So maybe it's from living in Indiana. Some people in Indiana have kind of a weird Southern accent. It's like a hybrid, but maybe that's it. So, but it's nothing to annoy me. Nothing like the way I feel about Shannon Sharp. I can't stand him. And Chris Sims. My God, there's nobody on television that I want to punch in the face more than Nick Wright. Okay, I just absolutely cannot stand this person. He is the most obnoxious human ever, and I just cannot explain how much I can't stand this guy. Okay. But regarding Pat, I would support Pat's show over most of the other shows, and that for personal reasons that I'm not going to get into. If you know what I'm talking about, if you're, then you'll get it. But yeah, so there's from what I can tell, Pat and his show is not woke, so they allow Aaron to say what he wants and stuff like that, and they seem to be all on the same page as far as that goes. So I would definitely support Pat over any of the other shows. James Johnson sends a $10 super chat. He says, what are your thoughts on the Cowboys being at a disadvantage against the 49ers for having played last Monday night? Meanwhile, the 49ers have had since last Saturday to recover, practice, they had team meeting and stuff like that. Well, it sucks. It sucks. I have no idea why they did that. I don't know why they put the game on Monday night. It was completely pointless. They didn't have to do that. So they could have done the Sunday sequence the same way on Saturday. So I don't know why. I don't know what the point. I mean, I know why. Technically, it's to make more money at prime time. But so that's 3 primetime games instead of just 2. So I know why they did it, but there's no football reason for it. There's no logical reason for it. This is the playoffs, and you're not supposed to do that. It also defeats the purpose of the last week of the season being all games are on Sunday, so nobody gets an advantage. So for as long as I can remember, week 17, now week 18, but week 17, week 18, depending on the time frame, was no Thursday games, no Saturday games, no Monday Night Football. Every single game is played on Sunday, and that was to make sure nobody got an advantage that they didn't deserve or get screwed over. So when you have a Monday Night Football game for a playoff game, you've completely ruined the point of that last week of the regular season. So they don't care. It's about money. If they cared about the actual product, like they say, the integrity of the game and all that stuff, they never would have gotten rid of the preseason game. They never would have the 4th preseason game. They never would have added the 17th regular season, and they never would have added the 7th seed. Okay, you don't do that. Everything the NFL product was absolutely perfect. You didn't have to do that. So it's that's what that is. For Dallas, since you sent me a super chat about it, I was going to do this later, but regarding the Cowboys 49ers, the Cowboys are in trouble, and it's not that I don't think they're any good. I just think that they're in a bad position because, first of all, well, that's a really good point, the Monday night, but that's not the only thing. Of course, they have to go to San Francisco. Obviously, that you never want to have to do that, but they do, and that's the way it is. But the biggest problem is that the 49ers are nothing like the Bucs. Nothing. The 49ers, if they were trying to lose on purpose, they couldn't screw up as bad as the Bucs did. Okay? Watch that game over again if you can stomach it. Watch the defense. Watch how out of place they are. They cannot figure out whose assignment is what when they're playing zone. Oh, is Is that yours? Is that where am I? Oh, when they're playing man, oh, is that my guy? Is that your guy? What are we doing? What are we doing? What's the call? They were confused constantly. The 49ers are not going to make those mistakes. The 49ers can play less than their best and still win. Okay? So they're kind of working with house money here. Okay? They've got a third string quarterback that nobody had expected anything from. And even if he didn't play well, everyone would be like, yeah, okay, well, whatever. That's not their guy anyway. So they're playing with house money right now. They got nothing to lose. And Dallas has to be perfect. Okay? They've got to be perfect. Dak cannot make any mistakes. He cannot have any mental errors. They can't have fumbles. They can't have stupid penalties. They can't have drops at the wrong time. Any of that. And they've got to be aggressive. They've got to be willing to take it to the 49ers. I'm talking Mike McCarthy can't be doing the conservative bullshit that he used to do. He can't get tight and start getting scared. This is not the Bucs. The Bucs are the worst coach team I have ever seen. Absolutely worst coach team I have ever seen in the history of the NFL. It's unbelievable how bad it was. It's just, at some point during that game, I don't know if you guys picked up on it because I was filming the whole game, but at some point I mentally had a switch where I just didn't care anymore because I had to laugh. I couldn't deal with it anymore. I couldn't just keep being shocked by how bad it was. And it was pathetic. But Dallas cannot treat that Bucs game as a example of how they're going to defeat the 49ers. It just won't work. It just won't. It's a completely different thing. They have to play perfect. If Dallas plays great, if they do the things that they're capable of doing, they can win. They can win this game, but they have to be perfect. So. And if they do that, by the way, then they're going to the Super Bowl. So. Look at all those Chris Sims. Oh, you guys are awesome, man. You guys never miss when I say that guy's name. You never miss. You guys are awesome. Israel says, our only advantage is this game just so happens to be a very big one. And that would be quarterback Purdy, to his credit, has been excellent thus far, but there is not enough film on him to figure him out yet. But at least they've got some, but the thing is that this game, nice job, Mastermind. The thing about this game is that it's everything for Brock's future, okay? His future depends on this game is everything for him. If he sucks, nicely done, Biden and Ryan. If he sucks, it's over, okay? He was Mr. Irrelevant. And as you guys, most of you know, Mr. Irrelevant that's what the nickname is of the last pick in the draft. So he will be maybe the backup. Maybe he'll get to be the backup next year. And because they're not going to keep Jimmy around probably. Maybe he'll even get to start. It just depends on Trey's injury and how fast he comes back. But so Brock is playing for his NFL future right now. That's a lot of pressure, but I think he'll handle it. He seems to be able to handle it. Dak's already gotten paid. Okay, he got paid. He's going to get paid again at some point by either Dallas or some other team. So pressure on Dak is just the desire to want to win, to want to get the Dallas Cowboys to the NFC Championship game, and the first one that they've been to since the early 90s with the well, not really early 90s, mid 90s with Troy Aikman's Cowboys. So Mike Evans sucks, bloody pleb. Absolutely. Mastermind, you're funny, dude. I thought I heard a super chat pop up or something, but did I miss it? Oh, I did. Okay, there were two after that. Gord King. See, we have our own traditions here on VonAllen Sports. Like, you guys remember Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse? And there'd be a word of the day. And then if that word is brought up during the show, everyone celebrates. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, well, we have that here. So if I say Chris Sims, you put in the comments a Chris Sims emoji. If I say Torque, you put in Torque. You know, if I say the GOAT, Tom Brady, you put that. So we have our own thing here. See, we're good. We're good. So the Gord King sends a $2 super chat and he says, "You're being flooded by Chris Simp bots." Yeah, well, that happens. So. James Johnson says the $2 super chat. He says the real MVP is the Dallas kicker. Dude, that's unreal. I've never seen anything like that. That was absolutely insane. Now, of course, we all know why that happened, okay? Right? It happened because the magnets in the goalpost were pulling the ball to it and causing it to do that. And sometimes it would pull too far and it would just go to the side, you know, it shanked to the right or the left. And so that was the magnets. If it wasn't the magnets, it was definitely the drones, the military drones that were moving the ball. Okay. So it was one of those other. Now, it also could have been someone in the stands with a big fan blowing it the other direction. It could have been someone with a rifle shooting the ball. Luckily for them, the bullet didn't go through. So, but it just moved it perfectly. So you've got all these concepts, all these different ways that he could have missed it. So, yeah. Good job, guys. John Thomas Chavez says the 2019 Browns were coached better. Yeah. It's I've never seen anything like it. Damn. The extra point is rubber bullets. Yeah, those could work. But would rubber bullets be able to get the kind of distance and the accuracy like that? Exactly, Mastermind fan with a fan. So, guys, I want to show you something. I know Alpha Kirch couldn't make it tonight. He said he had a family gathering of sorts. But look what came in. The VonAllen Sports USBs. So, on one side, it has the hang on. I'll get this to maybe if I do the auto or manual. Okay. Well, I know it's fuzzy. It's hard to tell, but it looks perfect. It's the detail is amazing, but it's just so it's not been able to. Come on, man. Adjust. Maybe if I turn the green screen off. No, that doesn't help. Okay. Well, just take my word for it. It's freaking it looks awesome. So it's got that, and then on the other side it says, of course, the Legion, and has the logo there, the VAS Live logo, and the Roman logo right there. That's the back, and that's the front, and of course, this logo is for the tournament. So I had 10 of these made as a first run. One goes to Elf of Courage. The other goes to Gord King. And the third one goes to Bitcoin Motorist for the amazing job he did as the moderator for the debate I had with Pat Truthner. So that leaves 7. So let me see. Yeah, so that leaves 7 of these. They come in a little pack here, and have the lanyard with it. So haven't figured out what I'm going to do with those yet, but they're very cool. So all right. See ya, Biden. Thanks for coming, man. Movie night with the family. That sounds great. That's awesome. So people need to do things with their family more. That's something that's lost in America now, is the family unit. They're breaking up the family unit. That's what they want. They want to break up the family unit. So because if you don't have your family to rely on, you're more likely to rely on the government. So James Johnson says a $2 super chat. He says, "Here's to Elf of Courage, VonAllen Sports. Let's go." That's right. Bill Williamson asked, did I see the video of the Eagles holder using some kind of device for a field goal and then picking it up? No, I haven't. But if that's true, wow, that's not good. So I mean, if it's a stand, that's, or a football tee of some sort, that's massive cheating right there. So Anthony Preston says, yes, remember the NFL is nothing but Masonic symbolism. Yeah, could you imagine if that guy's people, they realized that I was wearing my cufflinks that night. So Gory King's going to re-edit all my videos to be about Nathan Peterman. That's nice. Cool. All right. So let's see here. Yeah, so you guys remember the dude I was just talking about, the guy I did a debate with, right? So the Pat Truthner guy, he's it's something strange. So when we were corresponding with each other through email before the debate, he was very polite, complimentary, seemed like a good dude, right? And I was like, okay, cool, So, because I didn't want to invite, any assholes onto the show that were just gonna troll, and just be talking junk and filthy and all kinds of stuff. And you could get that sometimes if you're not careful. And this guy seemed like a stand-up dude, okay? And then when we did the debate, even before the debate started, while all the intro stuff is coming on, we can still talk to each other. And before that, and he, again, very nice guy, really polite and all that. There's a problem though. He goes to his channel, and I didn't even know about this until recently, but I noticed that debate video started getting a bunch of new comments. And normally the live shows, once they're like a month old, they don't generally get new comments because the algorithm doesn't recommend live shows that often. It does sometimes, but it's just not usual. It's not common. So I thought something weird. So I went to check his channel and saw that he did a video recently talking about Pat McAfee is talking about in the NFL is rigged and thinking that they're trying to do damage control or whatever. It's just stupid. But anyway, so he mentions our debate in that video, and again, he mocks me and stuff, and then he writes comments that says talking to me was like talking to a wall, and that I didn't give him time and I cut him off at the end and didn't want to debate even longer. It just flat out lied about all this crap, dude. Completely and utterly lied his ass off. And I'm like, what's up? What's up? I mean, you were so nice to me, and now, to get your people riled up or whatever, you've got to talk shit, when I wasn't doing that to him and I was being very respectful and all that. So I just thought it was weird. But these guys, it's become a religion for them. And they cannot believe anything just happens without it being some kind of conspiracy. Okay. And again, I'll say this, I've always said this. There are things in this world that deserve being looked at. Okay. So when you've got all of the evidence in the world is over here and the official story is over here, that's a conspiracy. Okay. So let's say for the JFK situation, everything that points to any kind of rational thought, all the discrepancies for the JFK thing is over here. The official story is over here. Okay. That's a problem. That's a big problem. That's worth looking at. That's worth investigating. So those are things that you can look at. The origins of the, right? Same thing. It's obvious that's the official story. is not in line exactly with what reality is. So yeah. But then you got things like flat Earth. Okay. Flat Earth might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I honestly cannot believe how anybody would come to that. But there is no, they have nothing for that. That's just feelings and being not trust. They don't trust it. Like they don't trust NASA and all this stuff. Okay. No, you don't trust any government institution, but NASA is NASA. It's just that they go too far with it. Okay. Saying they're doing CGI and all this other stuff. It's like, okay. Did we land on the moon? Blah, blah, blah. Of course we landed on the moon. I can give you, I can debunk every single moon landing conspiracy there is. And I'm not even a physicist or an engineer or anything like that. So there's just some things that are just, okay, enough. Okay. And football is one of them. Trying to say that the entire league is rigged is absolutely just ridiculous. Okay. If they just didn't go as far as they do, if they just say, okay, well, we believe that sometimes these things happen, somebody does something shady, of course, that's reasonable. Why not? That's reasonable. People are going to try to get an advantage. People are going to try to get an edge. And there's always going to be shady people doing something. All right. But then they take that and they go way too far with it. And into where you have to have a different, you have to create like a different worldview and you have to change reality into something else, into your fantasy that you want it to fit, and have the confirmation bias for you. So you see someone that confirms what you thought could be real and you're like, oh yeah, well, somebody else thinks that, so it must be true. Well, I'm sorry to say there are millions of people that think the earth is flat. Okay. That's a problem. Okay. So does that mean that it's true? So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. So I've got some Basement Butthurt videos coming down the pipeline that are going to be related to these scam artists. And the reason I call them they're scammers and they're con artists is because they're taking money by saying that they have evidence that the NFL is rigged. So guys like Pat, another guy named Zach Hubbard, there's a few others, some dude named Jake the Asshole, I think, or whatever, that his videos keep popping up on my feed all the time. Well, these guys are getting money and they're saying that they know the league is rigged. Well, that's a con. Okay. So if they want to say we think it is, or it might be, or we're suspicious, that's different. But then you have guys like Zach Hubbard who are taking in $10,000 a month off this stuff, saying that he's using gematria and Freemason stuff and all kinds of things, showing that the outcome, but he never gets anything correct. He never actually predicts the future. And when he does, he just records a bunch of different videos as the outcome and then deletes the ones that were wrong, and he leaves up the ones that were right. So it's a bunch of bullshit, and that's what bothers me, is that they're con artists. So yeah, Ryan, I'm absolutely sick of hearing that that thing about WWE. Okay, they take little things and they don't understand jokes and they don't understand common phrases and things like that. They don't know what that means. Okay, so when a player or an analyst says after a game that's crazy, like a crazy comeback or something like that, they say, oh, you couldn't have scripted that any better. You couldn't have wrote a better script, or somebody call Hollywood. This needs to be a movie. Okay. These are common phrases that we've always said. I've used them personally for myself for when crazy things happen and stuff like that. That is a normal thing to say. And it just means that it was so insane that either you need to make a movie about it, or it's so insane that it wouldn't be believable as a movie script. So that's all that means. But they actually use players saying this as evidence of them admitting that it was rigged. How fucking stupid do you have to be to think that that's your evidence and to not understand what that is? And the fact that I have to explain this, honestly, is just sad. It really is sad. And you would think that this would just go without saying, that it's understood what that means. But no, these days we have to actually explain it. It's like the flat earth theory. I have to explain to you why the earth is not flat. I have to explain it. I have to like go over things with you to explain this to you. That's sad. That is really sad. It's pathetic, actually. But that's what they do. They grab onto these things. Somebody's lawyer, or not somebody's lawyer, the guy, the Jets fan who got pissed about Spygate, his lawyer made a comment to the press saying that the NFL's like WWE. Okay, that was just an offhanded comment by a pissed off lawyer that didn't get his way. Okay, so what happened? They took that, and somebody took that out of context, and then it's morphed into this weird thing, okay, where they say now it's no longer that. Now it's official. It's like it was, oh, the NFL classified themselves like the WWE. The NFL admitted that they were like the WWE and all this stuff. So they took a quote from a douchebag lawyer who was pissy, and they now made it to where it sounded like that was actual legal. It was written in the actual court case. It was recorded that way. It was argued that way by the NFL. That's how far they go. And just complete idiocy, complete absolute idiocy. All right. So it's, what the hell? I didn't say his name. What's going on here? Yeah, Luke, we're going to get to that. Absolutely. We haven't got there yet. So. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence said it recently. That is a common saying that we all say for anything. And I think Matthew Stafford said it after the Super Bowl or something. And I don't know. It's a constant phrase that everyone uses. So. Okay, so Bitcoin, what's up? Hey, Bitcoin. So you're going to be getting one of these. This is the VonAllen Sports USB. There's only 10. Okay, so right now, so I've only got 10, but one of these is yours as a thank you for doing such a good job on that debate and not laughing your ass off and being very professional. You know, like I had trouble during that debate at times to not laugh or to not make faces. I was trying to not do that, and I would catch myself sometimes like going like this, you know, And like, what? It's like I started making faces, and I was like, oh wait, I got to stop. So I'd take a drink of my soda or whatever just to kind of straighten my face up. Especially when you started talking about drone technology and Brady's dad being a billionaire and all this stuff. It was like, whoa, okay. Things that are obviously not true and pretty insane. Is that was weird, but yeah, I tried to be straight with it. But you did a great job, taking it seriously and being cool about it and stuff. And Pat didn't even thank you or mention that we got out and got you and did that, and he didn't seem to appreciate it at all, and neither did his people, which is weird, because I would like to see an independent channel go through the trouble that we went through, that you prepared yourself. Me and you we had no correspondence regarding what you were going to ask or anything like that. Everything that you said was completely surprising to me. I didn't know what you were going to go with. You seem to have done a lot of research, put a lot of work into it, and their side didn't even appreciate that, it's sad, but I guess it's kind of expected when it's their religion, this thing that they believe in so passionately, that they can only use emotion as their evidence, right? But anyway, you did a great job. They did. Luke, this is oh yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So I'm not going to spend all night on this. But I just want to say this one more time. One more thing. They think Damar Hamlin's injury was staged. Okay? They do. They did videos, all of them did videos on it. They all did. It's no shit. Okay? They said that it was faked. The team, all the players around him were faking it, and everything that happened was fake, and Damar Hamlin was not in trouble. They just made this up. Okay? They did do that. And okay, but yeah. Now Bitcoin, hell yeah. There we go. Ryan Dyer. Ryan Dyer, member for 3 months, says former running back Larry Johnson thinks the NFL is fake. The wife beater. Yeah. So why doesn't he tell us a story about someone approaching him to rig it? Why doesn't he tell us that someone paid him to fumble the ball or whatever? Why doesn't he tell us about a conversation between his coach and some other executive? Why doesn't he give us anything? No. All they ever say is, I don't think the game is decided on the field, blah, 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 or whatever. That usually is accusing a ref or something else. But never, ever has any player ever come forward and said they were a part of it or they knew someone who was a part of it and tell us exactly what happened. They never do that. They just speculate the same way. Larry Johnson speculates no different than those other guys that have YouTube channels. It's all the same thing, okay? Well, Kyrie Irving also believes the earth is flat, okay? So, I don't know. Anybody is capable of going full retard, all right? Anybody. And just because he was a player and then believes that, okay, doesn't mean anything. And he needs to tell us what he knows. If you know something, you need to tell us, right? So there you go. John Thomas Chavez, member for 24 months, says someone I know once told me their mechanic was a former NFL player who said the NFL's rigged. An ex-player whose career went nowhere equals resentment. And it is. It's never from guys who were elite, and had great careers and things like that. It's never that. It's always from some bitter guy, or even if they were on a team that had won or whatever, they're usually things didn't go their way, or they're unsatisfied, or something like that. But no, it's they never say anything. They never give us anything, and nothing's ever brought out. Okay. With other conspiracies that I've mentioned, when they are actual real conspiracies, there are always whistleblowers. There are always people who can give you names, times, dates, things that have happened, experiences, things that they were told, things that they saw. We always get those. And when we don't get those, it's got to be treated as bullshit, right? So that's where it is. And until they get somebody, okay, let's say Emmitt Smith comes out. Okay, I'm just saying for an example. Emmitt Smith says, oh, those Super Bowls were rigged and we knew ahead of time what was going to happen. And I was told by Jimmy Johnson that this was going to happen. I have to do this and this and this, whatever. Now we've got a problem. Okay. So we've got to look into this, and we got to figure out what the hell is going on there. And we need to find out if that came down from the NFL, or if that came down from somewhere else or whatever. But that would require some looking into, and then things would get really real there, right? So we're nowhere close to that. Nobody's ever even been close to that. So it's just a bunch of butthurt nonsense. Bitcoin, member for 23 months. Dude, you're about to get your 24-month badge. He says, do you think the Raiders Bucs Super Bowl is rigged? No. That was a clear example of what happens to you when you don't change your playbook and don't alter anything on offense. And the guy that designed your playbook is the head coach of your opponent. Yeah, that's. I know that people think that the league has it out for the Raiders and stuff like that. I don't know, but a lot of the things that Raiders fans complain about have no legitimacy, and even if it seems unfair or whatever, the tuck rule is the one thing that they always bring up. Had nothing to do with it being the Raiders, had nothing to do with it being the Patriots. It was a rule that existed and happened in a lot of other games, happened way before that, happened 10 years after that, and was called, based on the rule, was called correctly. It sucks. Like I've said, it sucks. But that was how they determined it, and they called it consistently, and it wasn't even in doubt. In fact, Belichick knew that it would be that before and during the review. Another thing with that is that Raiders fans like to say is that the tuck rule review was the longest review ever. Even the players would say that. The actual review was a little over a minute. And so perception is important here, and how they view things. Like one of Pat Truthner's, during the debate, Bitcoin, commented and accused me of getting more time than Pat. So basically is saying that you gave me more time than Pat, and that I interrupted him all the time and all this stuff, okay? Well, while I was just happened to be editing when this comment was made, I spoke for roughly 84 seconds longer than Pat total in the debate. Okay? In the actual debate stuff, I spoke maybe between 84 seconds to about 2 minutes longer than him. That is nothing. That is completely within the margin of fairness. You did an amazing job on that. Now, the illusion part, and what I'm saying is by perception, is that all he saw was me also talking to you about procedure, about because it's my channel. I'm the one running it, so you're asking me things as I'm hosting the channel. You're asking me things, and we're talking about different procedural things and stuff like that. So he just sees me talking, and all that combined seems like that I'm getting more than Pat. So perception is important with these things, and people seem to have a skewed perception. But no, I don't think the Raiders-Bucs Super Bowl was rigged. I think that the Raiders were idiots. So you've got to disguise some of that stuff. John Gruden made that playbook. He knew every player on the team, and you got blown out because of it. So. There's absolutely nothing. I mean, why would they rig it for Tampa Bay? That's strange. Such a weird one-off thing, right? So. Yeah, I thought it was one member chat per week or per show or whatever. Apparently not. It's once per month. So. James Johnson sends a $2 super chat. He says Steelers versus Seahawks Super Bowl felt very fishy. That was the worst officiated Super Bowl I've seen since, Super Bowl 56 was pretty bad. The Rams and Bengals. But that didn't get bad until the fourth quarter, until the end. And that's when it got really, really weird. So you never know. But that's the part that where me and guys like that dude fall off, is that I'm willing to say that there are things that can happen and you can't really do nothing about it. He's saying it's all one big master plan, like the NFL designed it that way. The NFL wanted to make sure that the Steelers beat the Seahawks somehow or something like that. And everybody was in on it and all this other stuff. And they say, oh, Jerome Bettis needs to go out a winner. Oh yeah, because all of us were sitting around our homes for the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, leading up to, what was it? Super Bowl 40, actually. Super Bowl 40. We're all just biting our nails going, oh my God, I hope Jerome Bettis gets a Super Bowl. He can't go out like this, man. He's got to win a Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl's in his home city of Detroit, because there isn't like a million other people that's from Detroit. All right. No, it's got to happen like right now, and he's going to go out. Yeah, because we were all just hanging on, waiting for the great Jerome Bettis to win a Super Bowl. That's what we were all just hanging on to. And couldn't wait. So the NFL had to rig it for Jerome Bettis. Sure. No one gave a shit. Okay. Jerome Bettis wasn't even that big of a deal. Okay. So you can take any Super Bowl team, and I can show you a veteran that was trying to get a ring or wanted to get a ring, and then they retired afterwards. Okay. And I can show you 3 times as many great players, better than Jerome Bettis, and more important than Jerome Bettis, and more liked than Jerome Bettis, and didn't get a ring. So were those guys just fucked? Okay. What, does the NFL hate Barry Sanders? Does the NFL hate Eric Dickerson? Okay. Jerome Bettis is nothing compared to those 2 guys. What about Dan Marino? Dan Marino just said, they said, oh, screw you, Dan. We hate you. No. We don't want Don Shula and Dan Marino to win a Super Bowl. Really? Now remember, these guys are all about opportunity. They're all about the money and the fame of it, and these certain teams and big markets, small markets, and they keep bringing that up, which is so inconsistent, by the way. Yeah, there was nothing in it. There was nothing good about a Dan Marino and Don Shula winning as the Miami Dolphins. That's not worth it, right? Or oh wait, I know. Let's have John Elway lose 3 Super Bowls while he is the most popular quarterback in the league. And not only does he lose 3, but he looks like a complete ass in every one of them. Okay? Let's embarrass the guy. Let's make him look like an idiot. And then when he finally wins the Super Bowl, it's because he was carried by everybody else, more or less, and then he retires after he's won 2. He's like, he didn't even want to come back for the second one, but they had a great team and they were willing to massage the salary cap, if you know what I mean, which that actually is what you need to look into. But I could just give you so many reasons why the Patriots are your answer right there. The Patriots are the answer of why this is absurd. Okay. It is bad business to have dynasties. Okay. Now let me tell you how bad of a business it is to have dynasties in the NFL. They hate it, and they hated it so much that when the salary cap was introduced, it was in hopes that no dynasty ever forms again. It was to create parity between the teams. That's what they were looking for. That's what they were hoping for when they did that. There was other reasons too, but that was one of the big reasons why that they were thinking, okay, we can keep it competitive. Every team's got a chance. It's up to the owners and how they want to do things, but you have to spend a certain minimum and then you got a maximum, right? So they thought no dynasties wouldn't come back again because dynasties are one fan base getting a lot of the glory and all the other fan bases being disappointed. Okay, so that was a business decision to do that. It didn't work. It didn't work. What ended up happening is the greatest dynasty in NFL history, the Patriots. While you have a salary cap, they were trying to stop that. Now, why would they need to stop that? Why would they need to introduce the salary cap at all if they're rigging things? And they liked the fact that the 49ers won 4 in the same decade or 5 over a 15-year span. Why would you want that? Why would you want the Buffalo Bills to lose 4 straight? Why would you want to embarrass Jim Kelly and him be known as the biggest loser of all time? Why would you not let Warren Moon, okay, the first and well, not literally the first, but the best black quarterback that the league has ever had, and you don't even let Warren Moon get to the championship game? That's interesting. Why wouldn't you do that? That's good business. That's good PR. But no, they said, sorry, Warren Moon, you're screwed. You don't get to. No, we'd rather have the San Diego Chargers against the 49ers. Okay, we'd rather have the Chargers get their asses kicked, or we'd rather have the Bills go to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row and lose and get embarrassed each time, as it got worse each time. Their game against the Giants was good, but they had the famous missed kick, wide right, okay? but it got worse as they went on. And you want that? You want the Bills? Over and over again. The small market Bills. Remember that we're talking about the big markets get everything and the small markets get nothing. But you want the Bills 4 straight years in a row. 4 years straight. Okay? You don't want that to be the Oilers versus the Cowboys? An all-Texas Super Bowl. You don't think that's the moneymaker right there? Is all-Texas Super Bowl? No. We want Buffalo. Oh, wait. In 94, you could have had Joe Montana Chiefs versus Troy Aikman's Dallas Cowboys. What did they opt for? The Buffalo Bills again. In 2018, they could have given us Drew Brees versus Tom Brady. Instead, they served us up Tom Brady versus Jared Goff. Thank you for that. In 2017, they gave us a divisional round. A championship round with Tom Brady, the most hated NFL player in history, most despised, on the most despised team in NFL history, along with Blake Bortles, playing against Blake Bortles. And on the other side, you had Nick Foles, and Case Keenum. Yeah, that's a juggernaut, guys. That's the moneymaker right there. Boom. Everybody, the entire NFL, all the gambling and the bettors and everybody, the whole world was waiting to see an AFC championship game between Tom Brady and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And on the other side, people were really excited about Nick Foles versus Case Keenum. The Eagles versus the Vikings. Yeah, we were all on the edge of our seats waiting for that one. Fucking idiots. All right. Yeah, of course. So Luke Roethlisberger's tackle, that was some kind of intervention from that saved Jerome Bettis' fumble. That was all part of the story. Whatever happens, they're going to say that was part of the story. So no matter what. Actually, Gord King, you probably spent a lot of time Jared Goffin in 2018, but we don't need to get to that. So, okay. So as you guys probably most of you know, the moron, the complete and utter clueless idiot Byron Leftwich has been fired by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and along with some other members of the coaching staff. And I just want to say, who gives a shit? Okay? Where was this when you needed it? Where was this during the bye week? So what actually happened is he was supposed to be fired during the bye week, and Todd Bowles stepped in and basically ran interference for him and kept him around. God only knows why he did that. I don't know what would be the reason. Todd Bowles apparently didn't care about looking bad or improving the offense. So it was clear by anyone with a brain that the play calling was atrocious, and the play scheming and the design and preparation for the games were nowhere near what they needed to be. So now we've recently found out that, again, confirmation of what we all thought, because we know football and we know Brady and we know what we're looking at when we see it. But Tom was extremely unhappy with the lack of details and the lack of commitment and that the offensive coaching staff was showing. Okay, so they were not working as hard as Tom was. So Tom would send them, plays and different things, and they weren't taking it as seriously. So apparently, when Bruce Arians was the coach, I'm assuming that Arians probably made sure that those things were more involved and all that. So, because there's been a massive difference between this year and last year. But whatever, Tom was unhappy with it, didn't feel like that they were working the way he works, and is very, very elementary. And we can see that in the plays. We can see that in how the guys miss their assignments. The wide receivers can't run their routes correctly. They do stupid shit constantly. The offensive line cannot block to save their life. And they're always doing the wrong thing or committing a penalty or something. The running backs do not know how to not run up the ass of their own offensive linemen, and they don't know where they're going with the ball ever. And the tight ends, did they exist? So how did no one see this coming? So it was obvious, and now it doesn't matter. The only thing I'm worried about is that Tom, for some reason, they do something to talk him into staying. That would be devastating. Okay? That would be very, very difficult. And that would make this offseason a lot more complicated. So it wasn't just Byron. It wasn't just a few coaches on the offense. It was the entire team. Todd Bowles sets the tone for the most boring, clueless team of all time. The only thing I'd hire Todd Bowles for is to read books to children to make them go to sleep. Okay? Maybe send them to a nursing home. He can just talk to old people until they pass out. He's probably more useful than Ambien. And you want this guy to be coaching a room full of alpha males with no passion, no energy, no dedication, no enthusiasm, and no brain. Okay? I watch this guy talk. Does he have a shred of intelligence in him at all? It's shocking how aloof he is and clueless. It's really weird, right? So it's a team-wide thing, and he set the tone for that. Even the greatest idiots can be a savant at something. They can be good at something. Everybody's good at something, no matter how dumb you are. But it doesn't mean you should be head coach. Head coach is a different job from coordinator. It's a completely different job. Completely different thing. It's a different skill set. It's a different personality. It's just different. This should be found out in the interview process. Just because you were a good coordinator does not mean that you are head coach material. And I don't know why they constantly think that that is the natural step to the head coach. They just assume it is. They just say, oh, well, he was a great coordinator, so he deserves it. What does that mean? What does deserve mean? I want to know. What does that equal exactly? How do we know that someone deserves something because of how they were as a coordinator? What if they were the best coordinator out there, but they sucked at everything else? What if they couldn't inspire their players? They just called good plays, and all the other stuff was up to the head coach. Do you really want that guy? You interview him, and he's a cold fish, okay? That's what you want? How many coordinators have we seen be good coordinators but suck ass as head coaches? There's tons. Because it doesn't always equal it. Your head coach candidate may be just as likely to be the quality control guy or the quarterback's coach or the linebackers coach or something like that. Some dude on your staff that knows as much as the coordinators. He just hasn't gotten that shot yet. But he may have the personality and the intensity to actually be the head coach. Just because the guy was a coordinator doesn't mean anything. All it tells you is that he had some responsibility. But again, all those other things, a coordinator, you're just worried about what you do. You focus on what you do. All right? And there's all the other coaching staff that takes care of even more details. It doesn't mean that you're a leader. It doesn't mean that you know how to handle people and handle their personalities. Look at Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips, one of the best defensive coordinators that's ever lived. Complete garbage as a head coach. Rex Ryan, I'd take Rex Ryan any day of the week as a defensive coordinator. Would not want him as my head coach. It just doesn't. There's just some guys that don't work. Jim Caldwell did really good as offensive coordinator. Terrible head coach, in my opinion. It's just he's a beneficiary of the Peyton Manning effect. But yeah, it's just Todd Bowles, pretty good defensive coordinator, terrible head coach. It just doesn't mean that. It doesn't equal that. The interview process is where you find your head coach. That is what should prove it right there. People are all pissed off about Jim Caldwell getting fired from the Detroit Lions. And then Dan Campbell, is not getting fired. Well, Dan was in his second year. They gave Jim Caldwell 4 years and a much better roster at the time. And they thought that they were going to get somewhere. So they wanted to bring in a Super Bowl coach, which was a mistake, obviously, but they thought that they were going to get some Belichick type New England Patriots thing going. And so they thought Matt Patricia could build them a team. They fired his ass midway through his third year. And now they brought in Dan Campbell. Dan is only on his second year, but you know what? Those players on the Lions, they would take a bullet for Dan Campbell. Jim Caldwell had the personality of a doormat. Dan Campbell inspires those guys. He's intense. He's crazy. The fans love the guy. And he makes the team excited, and he brings excitement to the Lions organization. That's what you want right there. That's what you want. If you're looking for the X's and O's, that's your coordinators. That's what you're looking for. But you need the head guy to know how to manage everyone. That's what you're looking for. It's a different job. It's not the same. The head coach does not necessarily need to be the smartest guy in the room at football. He doesn't necessarily need to know every single thing. It's like I could go in right now into a company and I could manage an entire floor of engineers and know very little about what the hell they're doing. Okay? I could know just enough to understand, to talk to them and communicate with them. But I don't have to be an engineer myself, an accomplished engineer, to manage the room, to understand how to make sure that they're doing their job, turning in their work, inspiring them, managing everyone, dealing with people. That's a different skill. So your head coach does not need to be the X's and O's guy. If he is, that's great, but that doesn't need to be the thing that you pick. And that's what they're picking when they pick a coordinator. They're saying, oh, well, he had this offense and he knows this on offense. And so let's give him a team. Let's make him general manager too while we're at it. Why not? Hey. Why? Stupid. The interview process is where this is earned. The Gord King says a $2 super chat. He says Truthner, as in truth, name rigging. Yeah. Exactly. James Johnson says a $2 super chat. He says Gord King just checkmated him. You said mated. uh. Okay, just catching up with you guys. Yeah, Tiffany, I am terrified that they might talk him into staying. I really am. I don't even know what to do if that's the case. The only way that could even be salvageable is if the offensive coordinator that they bring in brings in some dudes with him, and this offensive coordinator so just his presence is so amazing that will overshadow Todd Bowles' idiocy. But that's asking a lot, actually. That I don't know, man. That makes me nervous. So I hope not. But I'm almost wondering if they're firing all those people, if it was a message to tell Tom, look, we're trying to fix the problem, and it was almost like a message to Tom that we don't want to lose you, kind of thing. And as far as I'm concerned, it's too late. I don't care what they do. If Tom's not there, I don't give a shit what happens to them. But yeah, I hope that's not what that is. Bill Williamson says Marvin Lewis coordinated the 2000 Ravens defense and then lost 8 straight playoff games in Cincinnati. Yeah, well, this happens a lot. Like I said, I would take Rex Ryan right now as defensive coordinator any day of the week. Okay, give me Rex Ryan, give me Wade Phillips, but as head coach, they're no, thank you, no, thank you. Whoa, Jesse Beck is putting me on the hot seat here. He says, "Would you rather see would you rather see Tom Brady retire than stay another year at Tampa Bay?" Milena, I don't know how to answer that. You gonna help me? Okay. I guess another year. I don't want him to retire until until I see that he can't play anymore. I haven't seen evidence of that yet. I saw a lot of bad decision making that was forced when you have a lot of dysfunction on the offense, when you have an offensive line that can't block anybody, and you have to get rid of the ball even when you don't want to, it makes for a lot of throws to the ground. You kill a lot of plays. You take a sack or whatever. And then I noticed over the season as it went on, he, I think at some point during the season, he switched and realized that this was hopeless, and it just wasn't worth it for him. And he wouldn't even be interested in staying in the pocket and taking the big hits in order to get a throw off. Why? Because he knew they would either drop it, or they wouldn't be in the right position and they would run the wrong route anyway, or something would happen, and he's just like, why even do that when what's the point, right? So when you don't, as a quarterback, if you don't have confidence in your guys, now I want to point to 2013 as an example of this. 2013, he didn't have confidence in those guys. The rookies, the Aaron Dobson and Kimbrell Tompkins and guys like that. He had no trust in them, and he made similar decisions. So that's what I was seeing there. But this was to an extreme. It wasn't near as bad as the Patriots comparison I'm making. But still, there was an element of that there. But this year, it was almost like, I'm just going to play through my contract. So here's why I think that he won't stay in Tampa Bay. Could be wrong, okay? But let's go back to what happened, how this all happened. So Tom did not want Bruce Arians as the coach anymore. Okay, he didn't like Bruce Arians. We all knew this, not because we knew that because Tom said anything, but we could see it. Bruce Arians was not the type of coach that Tom Brady expects. Bruce Arians was not the type of guy to go through the links that Bill Belichick would go through. Okay? So there was some kind of problem there with them. But Bruce Arians made it known that Tom Brady has to play in Tampa Bay. And I think that Tom, when he retired, he thought perhaps, now I'm just speculating, okay? I don't know any of this. I'm just kind of going through these events that happened. So I think Tom might have thought during retirement that he could be traded or released by doing that. Now that if he stays retired, they're going to incur some dead money, and why have a dead money cap hit for a guy that's not there when you could just trade him and then get something out of it? So I think Tom was kind of hoping that might force them, but then Bruce came out and said, "Well, Tom Brady, we're not trading him. We're not going to do anything for him like that." He made that very clear, and he says, well, Tom is either going to play for Tampa Bay or he's not going. So Tom knew he had to come back and play out that rest of that year, which was this year. I don't think what Tom expected was all of this to happen, like it be this bad. So sometimes be careful what you wish for, kind of thing. It's kind of like what happened with me. I was bitching about Bruce Arians for 2 years, and I couldn't imagine it could get more sloppy and more idiotic than that. And that I was just completely shocked by how much worse it got. Then there was some coaching mistakes that I think Todd made. The first one, the biggest mistake he made was the very first one when he let Tom leave. He let Tom go to Robert Kraft's wedding. And I thought that was, now I'm not talking about in-game mistakes. I'm talking like things that as a head coach, you have to make certain decisions, right? With the players. I don't think I would have let him go to Robert Kraft's wedding. I'm not even sure I would have let him leave during training camp as long as he did. I think that was a bad omen right there. So who knows if Todd made that decision or if he was overridden by the Glazers or the GM or somebody. I don't know. no idea who ultimately we wouldn't be privy to any of that information anyway. But the point is that there just wasn't the kind of discipline and accountability that you would expect. And it just wasn't there. And it didn't seem like Tom took it seriously. Do you remember that every week we kept asking ourselves and we kept talking about it? Why does Tom seem to not be bothered by this losing? Why does he get in interviews? He seems to be in a good place, seems to be happy. After his divorce, everything was, it's like, I think he seemed to think that this will be over and I can just get it done, get out of my contract. He played the year and now he can do what he wants. So that's one possibility. Okay. So that's one thing I was thinking. But if all that's true, if I'm right about those things, he's not going to stay in Tampa. Okay. But if I'm wrong, and let's say Tom didn't have a problem with Todd, his problem was with Byron and the guys on offensive, then he might stay if that's the case. And I don't know what to think then. Okay. So I guess we'll have to trust Tom's judgment on that. But I don't know how that would explain all of the defense being so sloppy and wrong positions, just complete lack of communication between them. That what is that? That's on Todd. He's the de facto defensive coordinator on the team. That's his expertise. That's what he does. And they're out there looking like idiots. So they weren't terrible for the year, but they weren't crisp and precise like they were before. So thank you, Jesse. That was a good super chat. John Thomas Chavez sends a $5 super chat. He says, Charles Lee had more military experience, but George Washington was more beloved by his troops. Lee was as competent in battle as Bowles is as a head coach. Yeah, so the thing about George Washington is he wasn't even the best tactician in the military of the choices, okay? Like John Thomas Chavez said, Charles Lee had more experience. But then there's also the best tactician we had was Benedict Arnold, probably. Okay. And all those guys were passed up for George. Why? George had the it factor. He had the leadership quality, the lack of the arrogance that the other guys had, and the desire to constantly want to be glorified. You know, that's exactly what led to Benedict Arnold betraying us, is that he felt he wasn't being glorified and appreciated, blah, 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 and all that. So that was a trait that he had about him, and George didn't carry that trait the same way as the other guys did. So he was obviously the better choice, not the best tactician, but the better choice overall, and that is a perfect example there of that. So the head coaching is just, it's a different job. Oh, nice. Way to bring in some history for me, buddy. That was awesome. You know, I love that. Dave Wilhauer. So, damn, $10. Okay. Let's do this. All right. Dave Wilhauer sends a $10 super chat. Now, those of you who don't know, Dave is in Tampa. He's in Florida, and he has a friend who is an insider. He's a journalist for the Bucs. So Dave gives me a lot of information sometimes. By the way, Dave, when you sent me a message the other day, I forgot to tell you about the Jaguars. When I said why did they go for 2, I was referring to the first attempt, not the one where there was a penalty and they got pushed up to the end zone. That's not the one I was talking about. I was talking about the one earlier when it wasn't necessary to do that. So just want to clear that up. But Dave says a $10 super chat. He says Tampa has a very good relationship with Tom. They gave him time off. They let him visit his son and go to Robert Kraft's wedding. I personally won't be shocked if Tampa likes the new OC and returns to Tampa. Okay. So exactly. So that's what I was just talking about, was the time off and stuff. I didn't agree with that for the most part. At least I didn't. I definitely didn't agree with the Kraft wedding. I thought that was absolutely idiotic, and that showed me that Tom wasn't committed to the team and he wasn't committed to this season. He wasn't in a good mental space as far as the team goes. As far as him leaving for a significant amount of time, I know that was to deal with the divorce and everything, but maybe he doesn't get to leave as long as he did. Maybe you cut that a little shorter. But yeah, if the new offensive coordinator that comes in is just awesome and Tom loves him and all that, then it's a possibility, right? So we'll see. Honestly, whatever Tom decides, I'll support it, because Tom knows more than we do. So he knows the situation. If he feels like the only problem was the coordinator and the coaches, when I say coordinator, I mean the coaching's around it, because a lot of the coaches got fired too. So the guys around him, if Tom feels like that was the only problem, and that if that is really tight and good, that he has faith in the defense. Okay, so we just have to kind of hope that that is the right decision. So, and we'll see, we'll find out, right? But I would rather see Tom just have a fresh start somewhere else and bring that winning attitude and winning mentality to a new team that's never had it before, that's very appreciative. Okay, so you saw the Bucs the first year that Tom was with them in 2020, how appreciative they were. Okay, how they just embraced it. They just wanted to win. They wanted a piece of what that felt like, and they were hungry for it. But this year, Todd Bowles even mentioned it. He said the guys are living off the accolades from 2020. Your head coach doesn't come out and say something like that if it's not happening a lot, if it's not a big problem. So when he said that, I knew that they were in trouble. I was like, oh God, here we go. Okay. So these guys are living off that. And I don't know if they're used to Tom. They've had him there for 3 years. And now I think that they're just worried about their stats. Like Mike Evans. Mike Evans is fucking worthless. Okay? As far as what he's capable of doing and what he actually does. All right? He is lazy. He is mentally weak. He has a low football IQ. All of his routes are very simple until Tom came along, and then they became more complex. And notice other guys started to shine as well in the offense that ran better routes than him. And every time someone would come up and be better, they would knock that guy back down. They keep giving Mike Evans opportunities, and he keeps screwing them up. Now, just his size and his natural ability is going to get him some touchdowns. It's going to get him some yards. But for what he has to work with, he is a massively overrated wide receiver. I've never liked him. I never liked him before Tom went to Tampa Bay. Don't like him now. Okay? I don't like mentally weak players. Michael Thomas is another guy like Mike Evans, mentally weak. All right? Highly overrated. You put Julian Edelman's brain, okay, or Chris Godwin. You put Chris Godwin's tenacity and toughness and how he's just a go-getter, right? You put one of those guys' brains in Mike Evans' skull, you have one of the greatest wide receivers that's ever lived, okay? You have a guy that is just destroying everyone. That's the problem with these guys, though. The reason they never get both is because one attribute hinders the other, or one hindrance enhances the other. So Edelman and Godwin, those guys are not considered highly sought or whatever, and they kind of make their living grinding it out, knowing what they're doing, following instructions, all those things. And that's how they became who they are, because they knew The other stuff didn't come as naturally as being 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". And then when you're Mike Evans and you're naturally gifted and you're a big dude, you don't work at the mental stuff. Okay. I've told you guys this before. When Kurt Warner came to the Cardinals, him and Larry Fitzgerald got in an argument. You know why? Because Larry said, I'm good enough. Kurt said, you got to study the plays. You got to start learning these routes better. You got to anticipate this stuff. Don't you want to be great? And Larry said, I'm good enough. He actually said that. Okay? That was Larry's mentality. Why? Because he grew up the ball boy of Minnesota Vikings. He was around Chris Carter and those guys. And he's a big dude. And he's able to use his body and everything to his advantage. And so he had the mentality that I'm just good enough. And then Kurt finally got through to him. And then he realized, hey, I can be one of the greatest. No one did that for Mike, okay, early in his career. Mike was already way late in his career by the time Tom got there. It's already in the back half of when he's going to be elite. That's running out soon. But I don't think he just understood it. And I think also Larry's a smarter guy than Mike Evans is. But these guys that have this big size and stuff and the great athletic ability, they usually are missing the other part, the dog in them, the fighter in them. That's what I loved about Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens had the size of a Larry Fitzgerald or a Randy Moss or a Calvin Johnson, but he played as if he was Julian Edelman. Okay? That was Terrell Owens. That was T.O. So say what you want about him, about his antics and everything, but you want a hard worker and you want a guy who's going to be in the trenches with you, he's the right guy. You guys remember Randy Moss taking plays off all the time? Remember him just not even running his route if the ball wasn't going to him? That's that arrogance. That's that I'm good enough. Okay? And thankfully, Randy stopped doing that shit for the most part when he came to New England. And he picked it up a little bit later. He started doing it again, but at least he had that time frame. And look, he set the record for touchdowns that season when he was a hard worker, when he was just doing his job, when he was not taking plays off. Look what he accomplished. And that's what Mike Evans could be if he had the mental preparation and the mentality to do it. Maybe he's just not capable of it. Maybe he's just a dumb person. Some guys just can't do it. Okay. AJ Green, dumb wide receiver. Okay. He's just not, he doesn't have a high football IQ. He came for the Bengals, went to the Cardinals, couldn't understand the offense, couldn't understand Cliff Kingsbury's designs, and he's confused. Never knows when the ball's coming to him, doesn't know what's going on half the time. It's just because the Bengals system that AJ was in was much more simplified. They made it very simple for him. Chad Johnson had the same problem when he went to New England. Okay, so he dominated in the Bengals offense, but the Patriots offense, he could not get it. He could not get it. Okay, so these things happen, but that's how I feel about Mike Evans, and it's a waste as far as I'm concerned. Luke, yeah, if they fix those things, and it looks like they're just going, balls out to try to keep Tom, then I could see it. But I have never seen incompetence like I saw this year. And it was team-wide, dude. It was team-wide. You saw it on special teams when they fucked up, and they showed the special teams coordinator just smiling like an idiot. Like, huh? What? Is that going on? Am I alive? Is anything happening? Or how about Todd Bowles' epic decision to not give Tom Brady the ball against Cleveland with 3 timeouts? That was genius. And then having the audacity to say that, to several days later, to blame Brady and say, oh, we might have thrown an interception. And then he contradicted himself after that in another interview later that said, Tom has the ability to call timeouts there. That's not what happened, though. That's not what happened. You said just the other day that you made that call. So see, he's a liar too, and that's a problem. Yep. John Thomas Chavez, absolutely. Benedict Arnold was a great field commander. Amazing. Excellent. But Washington was a better commander in chief. That's exactly right. Benedict Arnold was a great coordinator, amazing coordinator. But Washington was the head coach. That's the difference. Huh? Hello, Amanda. Amanda Audrey Esposito Martinez. She says, I hope this YouTube stream is lady friendly. The others haven't been tonight. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but sorry to hear that. But yeah, Nefertiti, Milena, she's usually on. Well, she used to be on the show. She comes on the show sometimes now. But absolutely, we have several female fans here. What happened? Where were you at? But welcome. Dave, back-to-back $10 super chats. Look at Dave. Dave Larson's a $10 super chat says, dude, you read my mind. I was thinking, put Julian Edelman's desire in Mike Evans' body. You got an all-time great receiver. Great minds think alike. Absolutely, my friend. We all of us here seem to be on the same page, and that's awesome. So, huh? I said what? I did? Oh, that's office talk, huh? Yeah. I picked that up from you. Yeah, Phil Williamson, as far as the Bucs coaching staff, they had Larry Foote helping design quarterback passing and quarterback and offense. And now you know Larry Foote, as you guys remember, was a defense player on defense for the Steelers. And so he's a defensive guy. And they moved him over this year to the offense for God knows why. That explains a lot. Okay? So when Tom was bitching about the lack of detail, you can see kind of why this was happening, right? So it makes sense. Okay, so you guys, let's go over the picks real quick. I know it's getting late, so I get on tangents sometimes, and I'm passionate about this stuff, and I like talking about it, you know. But it's Friday night. I mean, come on, guys, it's Friday night. It's not like you got to go sleepy time. You got to go sleepy time. You got to go to bed. No, you don't. Not right now. Because I said so. That's nice. I love the auto start videos. I just can't get enough of them. Okay. All right. So, first up, what do we have? Tomorrow, 1:30 p.m., 1:30 my time, 4:30 for Eastern. For you guys, most of you guys are in the East. But we have Jaguars at the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. So I loved what I saw with the Jaguars in the second half against the Chargers. Here's the problem. The first half was terrible for them, and it was the Chargers. Okay. The Chargers will always go full Chargers, and that is just who they are. They are the Minnesota Vikings of the AFC. Okay. They are just, sorry, Kevin Godnett, but you know it to be true. They are chokers. And Jaguars are going to have a tough time with the Chiefs. I think they can give them a decent game for a little bit, but then it'll pull away. Like everyone who plays against Kansas City, they cannot take advantage of the Chiefs' mistakes. They shit themselves for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it just seems to be. Well, I do know why, but it's a thing that people do against great teams. It's the advantage that the Patriots used to have, is when even when the Patriots would make a mistake, the other teams couldn't capitalize. It's that when you're a good team, luck seems to be on your side. Why? Because luck is a residue of design. Okay? It is not just blind luck. It is from working hard, being good, doing the right things, being disciplined, all those things. Great coaching. Andy Reid, hello. You got that. You've got things seem to just go your way, and see, that's just how it works. So I've got the Chiefs, but I'm still excited about this game. I'm still looking forward to it. But I'm going to say Chiefs 31, Jaguars 24. But it's not going to be that close. Jaguars are going to score late, but for the most part, I think it'll be a wide gap after the first half. So. My God, yeah. I remember Jacksonville was wanting to hire Leftwich as a head coach. Yeah, that was they dodged a bullet on that one, didn't they? Damn. Anybody who gives Byron Leftwich a team, they deserve to lose. Okay, Saturday night, 5:15. This is my least favorite game. This is the game I'm not really that pumped about, and it's only because both of these teams I find kind of dull. With the Giants, they're just kind of boring. Okay, the Giants are boring, but I like their coach, and I like his tenacity, his style, and all that, and I think he's doing a great job. Okay, it's just there are certain teams that are just not fun to watch, and not fun, and you're not interested in to see what they're going to do next. The Giants are one of those teams for me, for whatever reason. And the Eagles, another team. I don't like their style. I don't. It's dull to me. But I think the Eagles are going to lose this game. Okay, I think they caught lightning in a bottle during the regular season. There's a lot of things that I could point out that help them, that they were able to take advantage of. A lot of times the regular season can just go your way based on certain things. And I'll give you a perfect example. 2008 Patriots without Tom Brady. Matt Castle starts, and Matt Castle is able to go 10-5 because the first victory against the Chiefs was attributed to Tom because he started. But let's just say they went 11-5. Okay. They went 11-5. Why? Well, you need to go back and look at that situation. Sometimes things are just lined up perfectly. But then if you look at 07 was a brutal situation, and they were able to go undefeated. Sometimes things just work. And I think that the Eagles caught lightning in a bottle, but they are not the team to win in the playoffs. They're just not there, and I don't like them. A team like the Giants, like I was referring to, their coach DeBall, he has this team built for winning playoff games. It's just how they are. I picked Minnesota last week, and that's just because it wasn't against the Giants. I wasn't I didn't have anything against the Giants. It was just I thought the Vikings had so much good offensive power that they would finally get it done. But then at the same time, I saw that the Giants are a serious team, and I should have taken them seriously, and I didn't during the season as much as I should have. I was wrong about that. But I'm not wrong about the Eagles, I don't think. Even if the Eagles were somehow to win this, they're going to lose in the championship game, okay? The Eagles are not going to the Super Bowl. It's just not going to happen. So I think the road ends here. If it doesn't end here, it's going to end next week. So Giants in a very, very tough game. It's going to be Giants. It's going to be a weird score. Giants 18, Eagles 14. It's a weird score. Okay. I don't know if it's a scoregami or not, but I don't think so. That seems to have happened before. But it's weird, right? So and trust me, it doesn't feel good to have to pick the Giants, you know. So but that's just the way it is. Okay. All right. So Sunday at noon, my time, we have the 12-4 Bengals against the 13-3 Bills. Okay. So this is an interesting game here. This is second interesting, I think. I like it, but I'm really eager to see the Cowboys 49ers game. And I think that's why they made it the last anyway, because everyone wants to see that. It reminds me of the old days when I was a kid in the early 90s and 49ers versus Cowboys. That was the premier matchup every year for several years in a row. From all the early 90s, that was the matchup everyone anticipated. So it's kind of cool to see that again. Okay, but we'll get to that in a second. But with the Bengals and Bills, this is a very difficult game to pick. But here's the thing. The Bengals are the most complete team in the AFC as far as how they play. Okay, so what I mean by that is they are smart. They make plays when they have to. They don't do stupid crap. Okay? And I don't want to hear about the Ravens game. That was a division game. Division games are always weird. They're always going to be kind of strange like that. It just happens. Okay? We just see it. We know it happens. It has nothing to do with what happened in the first round. Because if you're going to say that, then you got to say, then why did the Bills barely beat the Dolphins? Well, again, that was an AFC East matchup. That was another division game. So that doesn't matter here. Okay? This is a different situation. Bengals, Bills. Bengals seem to just be extremely well-disciplined and very, very professional. Buffalo. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I just don't. I like Josh Allen. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. Actually, two of my favorite quarterbacks are playing right now, Bengals and Bills. So that's Burrow versus Josh Allen. So either way, I'm fine with it. Yes, Milena wants you guys to know something, okay? That she doesn't like it when they call Joe Burrow Joe Cool, okay? Because Joe Cool obviously is Joe Montana. And you cannot give someone a nickname from a guy as great as Joe Montana. So that's stupid, okay? So she's decided to call him Joe Coot. Joe Cute. See, well, what we call Coot, cute. So Joe Cute instead of Joe Cool, Joe Coot. Okay? Coot is baby talk for cute. It's how she talks to our cats. So COOT as in cute. Joe Cute. Okay? Joe Coot. Whatever. However you want to say it. But that's Joe Burrow's new nickname from Milena. Okay. So because I don't trust the Bills, I don't care that it's in Buffalo. Whatever. I got the Bengals. This is going to be a high-scoring game. This is going to be a shootout. So I'm going 38-35 There it is. Bengals win. Field goal difference. Okay? It's going to go to overtime. It's going to go to overtime, and the Bengals are going to win. Everybody makes mistakes, Luke. I mean, you could say that about everybody. And people got injuries. You could say that. Everyone has those problems. But of all these teams, we could pick them apart. But the Bengals are I think the overall still the best team on the AFC side that's left. So, and I'd say the Chiefs are second, and then the Bills third. Okay. At 3:30 my time, 6:30 Eastern. Dallas Cowboys at the 49ers. So again, we were talking about a little bit about this earlier. This is a strange game for both quarterbacks. So as far as that goes, a lot of pressure on him to win this. He doesn't need it technically as far as career. He's been paid and he'll get paid again no matter what at some point in his career, even if they lose. But it would do amazing things for his legacy to get them to the championship game. Dallas has not been to a championship game since Troy Aikman days. So that's a big deal for him. Okay. The Cowboys fans are going to be ecstatic, and they're the most popular team in the country. So you're never going to hear the end of it if they win this game. For the 49ers, their quarterback, Brock Purdy, he's playing for his career right now. Okay. So what he does, if they lose and he plays bad, he's going to be the backup next year for the 49ers, and that's it. So it's over for him. But if he plays well and he wins, everything changes. The 49ers' biggest problem has always been the quarterback position. Brock plays the quarterback position the way they needed him to, the way they needed a quarterback to do it. Jimmy wasn't performing that way. And although Jimmy was getting wins and the team was getting wins in 2019, had they had a quarterback that could make those throws and make those plays, they beat the Chiefs. Okay. So they just lacked that guy that can make those decisions and get it done. And we've seen Brock several times this year just make crazy plays and not being afraid. He is not afraid to take the shot and to go back and do it again and do it again. And they don't seem to be afraid to let him do it. That's another thing. Okay. It seemed like a lot of times that Kyle Shanahan didn't trust Jimmy to do those things. So they kept just being really overly conservative until they had no choice but to put it in Jimmy's hands. And then it just didn't work out. So Brock is different. It's just going to change things. Okay. If he can play just at least, he doesn't have to be amazing. He just has to do kind of what he's been doing for the most part this year. He can have an average game, and the 49ers can still win this. Okay. That's how much better the 49ers are than everyone else. Okay. So of all the teams left in the entire NFL, the 49ers are the best team. That's with Brock Purdy playing average. That's with him playing average. They are the best team in the NFL. If he plays good, no one is beating the 49ers. It's over. You might as well give them the fucking Lombardi right now. Okay? Might as well just hand it to them. Here you go. All right? So That's what we're dealing with here. The Dallas Cowboys' only chance is that Dak and the whole Cowboys team plays out of their freaking minds. I'm talking absolute crazy. Okay? They're going to have the best game of their life. And they can't sit there and pretend that the Bucs game was some kind of marker for how well they're playing. All right? This isn't the Bucs. This isn't Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich. Okay? This is a competent team. This is a team that could never make the mistakes that the Bucs were making last week. And does Dallas have the roster and the talent to play well? Yes. They're going to have to play great, and the 49ers are going to have to play under what they are capable of. But if the 49ers are playing out of their mind, it doesn't matter what the Cowboys do. Okay? The 49ers, that addition of Christian McCaffrey, I wrote that when they got him. I said, my God. I said, one of the best teams in the league just added Christian McCaffrey, the best running back in football. This is insane. Okay? And how many people sit there in the comment section and said, oh, if he can stay healthy, blah, blah, blah. Well, no shit. Okay? We could say that about anyone. But look, so far, it's been working. And the guy is out of his mind. Okay? This is not even the same team that went to the Super Bowl in 2019. This team's better. Okay? That team didn't have Christian McCaffrey, and that team didn't have Brock Purdy, who was playing way better than Jimmy ever did. Brock Purdy is better than Jimmy and Trey ever were. Ever were. Okay? Okay, well, I'm quoting Ryan Clark there, of course. But, yeah, so there you go. It's the 49ers to lose. It is. And they're going to win the Super Bowl as far as I'm concerned. So they're going to win this. They're going to beat the living shit out of the Eagles or the Giants. That's going to be just an annihilation. And then who do they play in the Super Bowl? We don't know. I'm hoping it's a Bengals 49ers Super Bowl. You know why? Because it's the rematch. Third time's a charm. We got the 3. We have Montana's 49ers beating Ken Anderson's Bengals. We have Joe Montana's 49ers beating Boomer Esiason's Bengals. And now we will have Joe Burrow's Bengals for the second year in a row, the second trip to the Super Bowl, playing against Brock Purdy's 49ers. And we'll see what happens. But I'm telling you, that matchup, if we get that matchup, that is going to be a phenomenal game. Okay? The second... There's a million combinations here that we could get. We could get 49ers Chiefs, the rematch. Okay? Super Bowl 54 rematch. We could get 49ers Bills, which has never happened before. That would be interesting to see the Bills back after all those four losses in a row in the 90s. That would be kind of fun to see that. Or you could have, like I said, the Bengals 49ers. Those are the options. The Jaguars aren't making it. If somehow, by some miracle, the Jaguars were to beat the Chiefs, they're going to get killed by the Bengals or the Bills. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to work. And same thing with the Giants. The Giants somehow beat the Eagles, which I'm picking them to beat them. They're not going to survive the 49ers. So let's say for somehow the Cowboys made it to the Super Bowl. Let's say they beat the 49ers. Well, if the Cowboys were able to beat the 49ers, then I'm picking them to go to the Super Bowl. So if they can do that, it means that they are past all their demons that they've always had. And I would probably pick them. Now, it could depend on how good the other teams look. I would have to really look at that, but I'm guessing that we would probably think that Dallas would probably do that if they played really well and beat the 49ers. But you could have a Dallas-Buffalo Super Bowl the third time to see if Buffalo can finally get it. Could you imagine that? That would be weird. You could have Kansas City versus Dallas. What's interesting about that is the Kansas City Chiefs used to be called the Dallas Texans in the AFL. So they were the competition against the Cowboys. So there was Lamar Hunt's AFL that he created to be a competitor against the NFL at the time. So that could be kind of fun with the historical background there. Or you get Dallas Cowboys versus the Bengals, which we've never seen that matchup either. So either way, I think we're in for some good football. The one thing we don't want is the Eagles. You don't want the Eagles in the Super Bowl, okay? That's just dull. And Eagles fans are the worst. They are the worst humans in the NFL. They are the worst fan base, the most obnoxious, and they're just assholes, okay? They're disgusting. They eat horse shit, literally. They literally do, okay? They riot. They throw shit at people. They're just a horrible fan base, and I do not want them to be happy. I do not want them to feel success at all. So just because of the way they are, they don't deserve it. Philadelphia is called the city of brotherly love, and it's anything but that. That's what's hilarious about it. So I don't know, but Mr. A is not a Philadelphia fan. So yeah. So check this out. So we've got the 49ers 5th in offense. Okay. Now keep in mind, that is overall before Brock came in, and that was with the other two quarterbacks. Okay. So that they still are able to manage that and catch up once Brock came in. 2nd in defense. The Cowboys have the 10th best offense against the 49ers' 2nd defense. The 49ers have the 5th best offense against Dallas's 13th ranked defense. 49ers in passing is 13th, which I think would be better if Brock had been playing all year. That would be even a better number. They'd be top 10. In rushing, they're 7th. That would be even better if McCaffrey had been there all year as well. So he was traded for midseason before the deadline. And Dallas is 8th in rushing. Now Pollard, for Dallas, he is a better running back than Ezekiel Elliott. So they've got a 2-man team there, and that's great to have, because when your starter, whoever you're wanting to use as the workhorse, you don't have to give him as many carries. And when you have the backup come in, he's not the backup. You've got 2 starters changing out, and that's a great thing to have. Okay, so they do have a good situation there. So it's gonna be a great game. I can't wait till Sunday. Sunday is the best day. Tomorrow will be fun, and we'll talk about it. And I may even host one of the games. I'm not sure, if we'll see, but yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good weekend of football. Okay, let me catch up with you guys here. Yeah, Blacker. Luck equals preparation meets opportunity. Yeah. 49ers fan. We've been getting a lot of those lately. That's interesting. Yeah, I think most of us here have the 49ers winning the Super Bowl. So you picked the right you picked the right chat. You picked the right channel here. So I think almost all of us agree the 49ers are our favorite. You can go back to all my old streams. You can join the membership. It starts at $2 a month, just $2. And you get a free super chat once a month, and you get access to all the live shows. You can click the link at the top of the chat box if you'd like to join. Also, please subscribe and click like on the video, and you'll love it here. Click subscribe, press the bell icon, make sure it's solid, and you'll get notified all the time. And yeah, you'll definitely fit in here. We like having female fans here, so you're definitely welcome here. But you could go back into my live shows all year long, all the way back to when the 49ers had a losing record. And what did I say? I told all you guys, The 49ers are not what their record says they are. I don't believe in the Bill Parcells quote, "You are what your record is." I don't believe that. It's not always the case. It is sometimes, and no, usually it is, but not always. And I said the 49ers are way better than people think they are. And they just got off to a weird start and weird things happened. So, yeah. So I've been on this train for a long time. I had them back in the Super Bowl in 2020. But of course, all those injuries, nobody could have predicted all that crap happening. But in 2021, they picked right back up where I thought they'd be in 2020, going to the championship game. And then now this year, they just needed a quarterback. That was it. And for a while, we thought Tom Brady was the missing piece for them. A guy that can make those throws and is good under pressure. But it looks like Brock Purdy can actually to do that. And he's got the same tenacity as Tom Brady. The late round, nobody wanted him guy that was drafted last in the draft. And he's got that chip on his shoulder, and he's got nothing to lose. He's out there having fun and playing and having a good time. And I don't think he'll fold. I don't see it. So, yeah, Phil Williamson, hell of a turnaround for the Giants. Mr. A says, let's go. I thought you said that he wasn't here. Amanda says, in Brock we trust. Who's better? Luke says, who's better, Daniel or Mac Jones? Daniel. Daniel's the better Jones right now. And it's in big part to DeBall. I think that he's made a big difference for him. So coaching's important, guys. That's why I keep saying this. Coaching is only second to quarterbacks, and it's very close. Okay? This whole a quarterback can do anything on any team is not true. You need some competent coaching. Okay? You don't have to have the greatest coach ever to win one to have a good run. But if you want to stay a good team for a long time, you need the coach and the quarterback. You need them both. They work together as one, and that's what you need. So the last two times in history with normal win-loss record. Yeah. Tiffany has Eagles versus Bengals in the Super Bowl. Somehow I got mixed up here because I already addressed Luke's other comment here. That's weird. Yeah, Luke, Bills are mistake prone, but on paper they have the best roster. Yeah, and that's that doesn't always help, right? I mean, look how good the Bucs roster was, even with missing guys and stuff. So yeah, you're right. It's the mistake prone, and that's what's going to kill you in the playoffs. So. Yeah, I'm almost there. Yeah, Blacker 58. If Purdy doesn't take this all the way, they probably start Lance, and that's just because he was a first round pick, and that's the stigma against quarterbacks who are not in the first round. They're always going to be treated as second, third class citizens in the NFL. And first round picks are normally going to get priority. It's very rare when that doesn't happen. Yep, Luke, exactly. Sounds like non-first round quarterback discrimination. It absolutely is. That's a real thing. It really is. Gord King. Brock, rocking on heaven's door. Yeah. I like it. Phil Williamson says, Kurt Warner broke down his performance against the Seahawks and showed how simple the Niners make things for him. If anyone wants to check that out. Absolutely, that sounds awesome. Amanda says, now he knows what he's talking about. Thank you. Let's go. Niner Empire is what Amanda says there. Thank you. Okay. See, guys, I know what I'm talking about. Don't mess with me. Blacker says the Niners remind him of a lot of the '87 Redskins. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, old school reference, by the way. Nicely done. Milena, you're going for a Bengals 49ers Super Bowl, huh? So you want the rematch, the third time's a charm. Will the 49ers go 3-0, or the Bengals finally get that Super Bowl over the 49ers? Cowboys Bills would be interesting. Yep. Steve Wisser says, what do you think the over-under will be in Giants versus Eagles? Oh, God, it's going to be low. It's 32, 33. It's maybe. I don't remember what I said, but it was something close to that. So I think I said 18-14 or something like that. It's going to be a weird, so no more than 35. I'd be surprised if it goes over 35. So Maria. Wasn't there a song like Maria reminds me of a bedtime story or something like that? Maria sends a $5 super chat. She says Cincinnati Bengals versus the San Francisco 49ers. Well, that's that'd be interesting, right? That's if I have to, picking right now, that's what I would say is going to happen. So yeah, it's a great pick. Great to see you here, Marie. We got all the girls here tonight. Look at that. Mike Miller, Giants with the upset. Yep, I agree with you. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Anthony Preston. Seriously, dude? Are you trying to give me an aneurysm? Anthony Preston says Sean Payton becomes offensive coordinator for the Jets, and Brady becomes the quarterback of the Jets. No. 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 Just no. Just no. Just no. No. As Jordan Peterson would say, no. 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 Diane. Wow. We have Queen Mary and Princess Di. Look at that. Diane Tincher sends a $2 super chat and says Bills versus 49ers. I've noticed no one's picking the Chiefs. Does any of you guys, let me know, comment. Does any of you guys have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? They've been a bit sloppy this year, huh? They've gotten away with some wins, I'll tell you that much. They've gotten away with some things. Certain teams couldn't just finish the job. They lost to the Colts. Oh my God. And they barely finished off the Texans. So they can be had if you play a good football and you hit them at the right time. But does anyone have the Chiefs at all? Israel says Shannon Sharp just now a few hours ago almost got in a fight with an NBA player. It's the steroids, dude. Have you seen him on Undisputed when he gets mad at Skip and his veins are popping out and he's all angry and pissed off all the time? That's steroids, dude. So he needs to lay off of them. Blacker says if the Chiefs win tomorrow, that's 5 straight AFC Championship appearances, and don't win the Super Bowl. That's I mean, it's impressive to be able to go to the AFC Championship game that many times, but it's very disappointing if you can't close the deal. Yeah, who was the player, and do you know what it was about? Like what was the problem? That's weird. I'm gonna just hop over to Twitter, see if there's anything I missed that I wanted to mention. Just give me a second. Oh, I'm watching the clip right now. Let me see if I can get that for you guys. That's just steroids. Yeah, Terry Bay on Twitter sent that to me, actually. So it was there waiting for me. I'm downloading it right now, and I'm going to show it to you guys. Okay, anything else while we're waiting on that? Why is it taking so long? What the hell? Well, maybe I can do this instead. Let's see if I can get you some audio here.
And you see Steven Adams comes over to protect his guy along with the supporting cast, and then Shannon
at the Crypto.com arena. Dylan Brooks was having words with Shannon Sharp, Hall of Famer and broadcast.
And you see Steven Adams comes over to protect his guy along with the supporting cast, and then Shannon Sharp still talking, and T. Morant, John Morant's dad, comes over. Had an opportunity to talk to T. Morant, and he said, my blood pressure didn't go up a bit. Nothing but love and respect for Shannon Sharp. It's a bunch of guys talking a bunch of trash.
And just silly at the Crypto.com arena. Dylan Brooks was having words with Shannon Sharp, Hall of Famer and broadcast.
So, what is the context for this exactly? What is Tom doing? I think
I don't know. Is he celebrating his divorce?
I don't know. Sorry about that. I don't know why that unmuted. But I was saying, what is Tom doing here exactly? Like, what is the deal? I don't know. Strange. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what that was all about. But with the Shannon Sharp thing, that was just roid rage. How do you go to a game, an NBA game, and start getting in a fight with a player? How does that happen? Aren't you supposed to just be sitting down watching the game? Why are you interacting with the players? What is that? I've been courtside before at a Phoenix Suns game. I never said one word. I mean, I've seen LeBron. I watched LeBron play against Kobe here in LA. I can't stand LeBron James. I didn't say a word. Like I wouldn't ever say anything to him. Why would you do that? That's just stupid. When we say, "Oh, hey, LeBron, you're blah 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 blah," I mean, he's playing the game. I'm a spectator. Why would you be talking to the players? Like, I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. So he had to have been, for it to escalate like that, Shannon had to have been constantly, in his shit. So that's, yeah. I don't know. That was just weird. So did anybody pick the Chiefs like I asked? Was there anyone? Did you see? Milena? Yeah, Shannon's just out of control. He gets pissed off about everything. Yeah, Amanda, the Chiefs almost lost to some pretty bad teams. And those kind of weaknesses sometimes they can show up in the playoffs, or you learn from them. That happened to the Patriots sometimes. You go back to 2018 and stuff, and they were able to learn from that. So, just what type of team are you? So. Yeah, exactly, Gord King and Steve Wisser. When you're Shannon Sharp and he judges everybody, okay? He was talking crap about all these different players that do this or that, and then he's there doing that. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So he's out of control, and that's what his problem is. Regarding the Chiefs, though, and Patrick Mahomes, I'm just tired of the hype, okay? I'm tired of every single time he does something, is he the GOAT? Is he going to be the GOAT? And it's offensive, okay? He's not even, I don't know where I'd put him, but he's not even top 10. And it's not an insult, but what are we talking about here? This is ridiculous, And so it's very, very insulting for them to call him these things. So what, you guys, the Chiefs fans think that he's better than Joe Montana? You think he's better than Tom Brady? You think he's better than Peyton Manning or John Elway or Johnny Unitas? It's like Dan Marino, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. You think, I don't know. What are you talking about here? And Patrick Mahomes is not doing anything, okay? Anything that we haven't seen other quarterbacks do. We've seen Randall Cunningham stuff like this. We've seen Brett Favre, And Patrick Mahomes is actually just Brett Favre. Okay, that's what he is. He's just another Brett Favre. Okay, the no-look passes, the improvisation, the throwing behind his back, the trying to make a play while he's flying through the air. This is what Brett Favre did. Okay, Brett Favre's entire game was improvisation. So he didn't read defenses. It was years before he started learning that stuff. And the back end of his career, he even admitted this. All of his entire game was feel. Okay, just how things felt. And we've seen this, okay? In fact, there's a guy that has a better sidearm throw in the league right now than Patrick does, and that's Russell Wilson. He throws the actual flying sidearm better than Patrick does. So let's stop pretending that we've never seen this before and it's never happened, okay? I could show you quarterbacks from the 1950s doing this stuff. It's not new. It's nothing we haven't seen before. You know what we haven't seen before? A guy playing at this elite level till he's 45. A guy winning 7 Super Bowls. Or, a guy winning 5 MVPs like Peyton did. Those things we've not seen before. Everything else we've seen before. There is no type of quarterback that you can put in the NFL right now that we can say, oh, we've never seen that before. So I'm sick of hearing this. I'm tired of it. We have seen it before. And we've seen it a lot. And one thing that bugs the crap out of me, okay, is I don't know if you've noticed, if you guys saw this, all right? Oh, yeah. I didn't even, thank you, Blacker. I didn't even mention Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' sidearm throws is better than Patrick Mahomes. So this was going around the last few days where this guy posted a stat about Patrick Mahomes and linked Kurt Warner to it, okay? And Kurt Warner responded to it. And the tweet was that Patrick did all these things before he was 27, and he's going to pass up Kurt Warner. And Kurt Warner replied, he's like, I didn't even start my first game until I was 27. So, like, what's the point of this exactly? Well, you know what? Patrick still has not accomplished what Kurt Warner did. Kurt Warner has a better start. So these people were saying that Kurt didn't make the players around him better like Patrick does. Okay? For real. They said this stuff, okay? So, check this out. Now remember, when I tell you this, this is not an argument I would make. I would never use something like this. I would never use something like this against another player, okay? This is only because they said that Kurt doesn't make the players around him better, okay? Well, let's find out. Rams. This is the St. Louis Rams before it going back to when they were in LA. Rams before Kurt Warner. Okay? 1995, 7-9. 1996, 6-10. 1997, 5-11. 1998, 4-12. 1999, the year Kurt starts, 13-3. He's MVP. They win a Super Bowl, and he's Super Bowl MVP. And in fact, he still is the last guy to win MVP and Super Bowl in the same year. The Cardinals, before Kurt Warner was finally named the full-time starter, because in 05 and 06 and even into 07, they kept pulling. They didn't know who the quarterback would be, or he would get injured, or there was always something. But when he finally, it was clearly named that it was his team. In 2008, they go all the way to the Super Bowl. The Cardinals have been a garbage organization forever until that happened. And then in 2009, they beat Green Bay in that crazy shootout game and then made it to the Divisional, only to lose to the Saints, who went on to win the Super Bowl. Okay? So apparently Kurt doesn't make anybody around him better, but those things were accomplished somehow. I don't know. I mean, here's the Chiefs. Here's the Kansas City Chiefs before Patrick Mahomes started. 2013, 11-5. 2014, 9-7. 2015, 11-5. 2016, 12-4. 2017, 10-6. Not a losing season at all. So in 2017, they were 10-6. In 2018, Mahomes starts. They go 12-4, and then they lose to Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game. Now, normally, like I said, I wouldn't use this argument at all for a reason to knock Mahomes. It's just, why do people have to say these things? And then they force me to have to say stuff like this. But I also wouldn't be stupid enough to shit on Kurt Warner in order to brag about Patrick Mahomes. But when people like these people, like these type of guys, when they say this stuff, we have to show them what's up. If Kurt Warner doesn't make people around him better and wasn't important, how do you go from 4-12 to winning MVP, the Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP? How does this happen? Mahomes arrived on a team that was consistently in the playoffs and played great football under Andy Reid. He was a 2-win improvement in the regular season and got them one round farther than Alex Smith could. And that was with winning an MVP. As of right now, Kurt Warner had a better start to his career than Mahomes, unless we keep pushing back the date. So each year, Mahomes can be bragged on for this and this and this and this. Okay? Kurt has also improved not one garbage organization at the time, but two. Okay? When he took over the Rams, they hadn't done anything in a long, long time. And certainly they never won a Super Bowl. The Chiefs were never bad when Mahomes arrived. They were never bad. The moment Andy Reid showed up in Kansas City in 2013, they were good. They were good. Boom. Just like that. 11-5, his first year there. Now, Mahomes was clearly an upgrade from Alex Smith, and I'm not arguing that. And I never have said that he wasn't. But why talk shit about Kurt Warner? I don't understand. Why make the comparison? Because then you force me to have to do that. You force me to say the truth, which is Patrick Mahomes came in to one of the best situations in the history of football for a quarterback. Okay? You'd be hard-pressed to find a better situation than Patrick had. You had a veteran quarterback in Alex Smith who was willing to teach you. Alex was literally letting Patrick take his job. He was helping him. Most starting quarterbacks won't do that. They won't ever do that. Ask Aaron Rodgers how much Brett Favre helped him. Okay? He'll say none. Okay? It's just not normal. What Alex Smith did for Mahomes is not normal. And it's not just that. That team, the Chiefs team, was a great team already. You had Andy Reid. You had everything in place. The foundations were all there. You had all the players. You just needed that quarterback that got you the extra level that you need. And that's Patrick. And I give him credit for that. But these things have to be mentioned if you're going to say that Kurt doesn't make his players better. If you're going to say that Kurt was just a product of the weapons around him. Yeah, how were those weapons doing when they were 4-12? Okay? I want to know. Or how about after Kurt leaves, they are the worst, one of the worst organizations until Sean McVay. Okay? So that's a long time. Whatever, man. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these comparisons. If you have to crap on another great quarterback in order to make your quarterback look good, the argument has no weight. It means that the guy can't live up on his own. I don't have to destroy another quarterback to make Tom Brady look great. I don't have to do that. I don't have to crap on Dan Marino in order to verify and validate Peyton Manning. I don't need to do that. Okay? It holds up on its own. It's there, his accomplishments. We don't have to do that. We don't have to blah, blah, blah. The only time I've ever done those things, which I was just doing, is when the guys beat up on another quarterback in order to prove their point. And I don't get that. I just don't get it. It makes no damn sense. But they force me to do it, and I have to do it. But I normally wouldn't bring that up. I would normally never bring up as a serious point against Patrick that, oh, he came into a great situation. I wouldn't use that against him. I might mention that it was good for him and that every quarterback should want that. That's great for him. It's awesome. But I wouldn't use it against him. I wouldn't say that this is bad against him. But if they're going to say shit like that, if they're going to say that Patrick makes everybody around him better, but Kurt doesn't, now we've got a problem. Okay? So. Nobody's picking the Chiefs. Okay, I figured. Yeah, Blacker 58. Best first year quarterbacks. There's a lot of them. Like you said, 99 Kurt Warner comes to mind. 2001 Brady winning Super Bowl MVP from a team that was 5-11 the year before. And then you've got 2018 Mahomes, threw for 50 touchdowns, tied Tom Brady for the record, won MVP, and went all the way to the AFC Championship game. Now, see, those are things to be proud of. Of those three, Patrick's the only one who didn't make it to the Super Bowl and win it. But it's something to be proud of, okay? And something to be bragged about. But we can't do that if you're crapping on other guys and you're trying to ruin someone else's legacy and say stupid things that don't make sense and are completely false. All right? I'll tell you what. I witnessed Kurt's when he arrived at the Cardinals and then when they finally made him starter and everything clicked. And no Kurt Warner, no Cardinals. Okay? No Kurt Warner, no playoffs, no nothing. Okay? They just, without him, it's over. So. Yeah, Blacker, exactly. So Kurt Warner was injured in 2000, and so they weren't able to make anything happen there. But they went back to the Super Bowl in 2001, only to lose to the Patriots dynasty that was to come. So that's an admirable loss. It's understandable. It's not like you just lost a one-off to the 2002 Bucs or someone like that, right? It's just it's understandable, right? But yeah. Amanda asked me, would you consider Phillip Rivers a sidearm quarterback? Yeah. But that's mainly because of his form is so bad. So he's just got one of the worst, ugliest throws I've ever seen and one of the ugliest forms I've ever seen on a quarterback. But it don't matter. It just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how pretty it is if it works for you, okay? And it worked for him. That's what he was comfortable with, and that's what he did. And some people like a proper quarterback form, and that has something to do with how the ball is thrown, how far they can throw it, how accurate they are. It just depends, okay? And I was telling you guys last, maybe it was last year, okay? And let me know if you remember this or not. But I was talking about throwing of the football on the run. And everyone was making this big deal out of when Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes threw these throws running to their left. They're right-handed, but they're running to their left. And then they make the throw, a perfect throw down the sideline, okay? And I was making the argument that is actually a better throw for them than running the other direction. Okay. So people are making this out to be difficult, as where I was saying it's actually easier. And the reason it's easier is because when you're running to your left, you can only turn your body so far, and it literally forces your form to be parallel to the field, and you throw it, and it's always going to go exactly where you need it to go as long as you're throwing it to the left. Okay? So if you're running to the left and throwing it either in front of you or off to the left, that is going to be an easy throw to make. Your momentum carries you, your shoulders, everything, your waist, everything the way it is positioned, it actually makes it for an easier throw. Well, some people don't agree with that. And then I was watching this interview with Brett Favre, Drew Brees, and Joe Montana. And I was watching this last night, okay? Or no, 2 nights ago. I even cut a short out of it. But the guy that was hosting this thing with those 3 quarterbacks, he was talking about the running to your left. I think Mahomes might have done that. And he was bragging about it because they were watching the Super Bowl, and he was talking about how Mahomes could run to the left and throw that. And he's like, isn't that this is a great throw, whatever. And Brett Favre corrected him. And Brett Favre said, you can guess, actually, that's one of my easy throw. That's actually a pretty easy throw. I actually like running to my left. And Joe Montana reiterated that and said the same thing. Okay? So, again, a lot of people, that don't understand the game, they create hype out of something that they don't even realize that it's not that hard. It's more difficult to stand in the pocket and hit a guy through the linebacker and through a safety and just be perfect, like thread it right down the line, down, like a needle, just boom, right? That's actually more difficult because you've got to get the right trajectory. It has to be the right speed. It has to get there on time, but it can't be too late. If it's too late, it's picked off. If it's too early, it's incomplete or tipped and for an interception or something like that. So it's hard to get that angle standing in the pocket like that. That's actually more difficult. When you're on the run, okay, when you're running, so a million things happen, okay? So while you're running, not only do you create an empty lane to throw in, so now you ain't got offensive linemen holding their hands up and everybody in your way, okay? Linebackers back there in your way, all kinds of stuff. Everything's going chaotic, right? But when you're running out of the pocket, you see open field. You're able to make that happen. That's why you move. That's why that we move out of the pocket, because they don't see an opening. They don't see a guy open, so they try to create one. When you do that, not only are you getting a clear field to your target, but your wide receiver has had time to get open. Because a cornerback or a safety can only really defend a guy for a certain amount of seconds. And then it's impossible to keep that pace and to know where he's going at all times. The play breaks down, okay? The call of the defense breaks down after a certain point. So it becomes easier. That's why when you see a guy on the run, he always has an open guy, okay? This happens for all kinds of quarterbacks, not just Mahomes, okay? It's actually higher probability that you're going to make a completion than if you stay in the pocket. It's more difficult. The difficulty level is actually harder if you're in the pocket and trying to make the perfect throw than if you're running out. That's all I'm saying, okay? But because running around is flashy and looks cool, that's what people go for. And that's what they think automatically is the greatest thing we've ever seen. So... Yeah, Gord King. You're talking about Peyton. Wait, no, that's Blacker who said that. Sorry, Blacker 58 says you remember Warner versus Eli Manning for the starting job for the Giants in 2004. When they benched Kurt, they had a winning record. I think they were like 6-4. When they brought Eli in, they barely won a game the rest of the season. So, Majuli Coca-Cola Molia? Bednaga. Okay. Blacker says, I forgot who, but someone who played center with both Brady and Manning said Brady made more adjustments at the line to help everyone out more than Peyton. It's not, I wouldn't be shocked if that was true, okay? And here's why. A lot of what Peyton did on the field was nonsense, okay? And it was intelligent chaos. So most of it was just gibberish to throw the defense off and to confuse them. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's making adjustments. It just seems like he is. It just sounds like he is. Now, he is making adjustments sometimes, but sometimes it's just nonsense, right? And people see that and they see him blah, 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 Omaha, basket, bridge, whatever, okay? And they think, oh, look at him making the adjustments and doing all these things. And that's what he's thought of as, right? Tom is more subtle. And he's got his, he's got the cadence, his normal cadence that he does. He doesn't really do all that crap. And when he does, there's a reason for it, okay? And it's not just nonsense. It's two different styles, two different ways of doing things. It doesn't mean that Peyton's is better or worse. It's just different, okay? But Tom does make a lot of adjustments and sets a lot of protections, different things like that, to benefit the offensive line, to help them block better, to make sure the receivers are in the right positions. And he does this quite a bit. They both do it a lot. So someone's saying that, oh, Tom Brady probably does it a little more. That's not surprising. I would believe either way. If somebody said Peyton did a little more, I'd believe that too. So that's pretty reasonable, actually. So, but that's an interesting thing you said there. So. Well, Biden, it's Friday night and we have a big playoff weekend and there's a lot to talk about. So that's kind of why this went so long. But nothing wrong with that. Oh, no, Omaha? No, that definitely did not originate with Peyton, but he made it famous. So that's why we reference that to him. Okay, I think I covered everything. I think we went over everything that I was wanting to talk about for this show because a lot of stuff happened during the week. If there's anything I'm missing, you can just quickly post it and I'll see. So, yes, Biden, you were complaining. Okay, you were complaining. I heard you complaining. I could hear it all the way from wherever you're from. So, where are you from? Where are you at? I could hear it. I could sense it. So, just think in the off season, we're not going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. So the shows will be shorter. They'll be like an hour or something like that, unless we're doing the trivia game. But right now it's the playoffs. So we got stuff to talk about and a lot's going on. So, thank you, Amanda. Make sure you subscribe and come back anytime. I think you'll like it here. We're a good, it's a good group here. Okay. And we're all friends and we all Love football, love the game. And you're not the only 49ers fan here. There's several. In fact, our biggest 49ers fan is Rafael Hagoy. You'll see him on here sometimes. He's a huge 49ers fan. Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. I just hope we can win a game. Okay, guys. And as always, don't forget, I leave the chat open for 10 minutes. I extend it a little longer if we're having a cool conversation or something. But so after I get off here, you don't have to leave. You can chat. We can chat with each other. I'll be in the stream too for 10 minutes or around 10 minutes, whatever. So just letting you know, giving you a heads up for that. Okay. Thank you guys so much. And I'll let you guys know what I'm planning if I'm going to do any games like we did last week. I know I will. I just don't know which ones I'm going to pick yet. So, okay. So I will see you guys. I'll see you in the chat right now. Okay. Thank you guys so much.
This is Patriots linebacker, Super Bowl 49 champ, Darius Fleming, and you're watching VonAllen Sports. Real and honest NFL analysis. Subscribe now. Join the empire. VonAllen Sports, let's go!
The universe is no longer one for Hi, this is tennis player Mariana Dragic, and you're watching VonAllen Sports, real and honest sports analysis. Subscribe now and join the empire. VonAllen Sports, let's go!
VonAllen Sports.